You're watching ICENET, independently covering New York Islanders hockey past and present, bringing you the tradition and nostalgia you know and love with a modern feel. This is where Islanders tradition and pride are always our number one. Built by passion for the orange and blue. Isles coverage. Taking a step into the future by reaching into the past. ICENET. Dynasties live here.
Zone. It's Langevin around the left wing boards for Gillies. Gillies dumps it into center ice. DuPont ahead to Fatorik at center. Now it comes to the right side. Fischler trying to move it up in this right wing. Cote across the line. Cote for Quebec. Chased to the corner by Trottier. Centers one to the blue line. Hoganson tried to dump it in front of it. It's cleared it quickly on the left side to Bossy. Bossy dumps one around the boards in the Quebec zone. Persson at the blue line couldn't control it. The Nordiques clearing it into the center ice zone. Out of the Islander territory. Trottier came back, but offside has been called, and we'll get a face-off in the center ice zone.
Is that a scoop, Jiggs, the fact that Fischler is going to cover Michael Bossy tonight?
Well, that's what they hope to have happen.
All right. Now, I ask you, what sense do you see in trying to cover Michael Bossy unless it's to try and keep him from getting his personal goal? Now, Bob Fischler, not out there right now, is in the players' bench, but are they going to sacrifice a game like the Calgary Flames and Detroit Red Wings, do you think, in doing that?
It would appear that way, yes.
Bad coaching.
Langevin. Well, their job was open earlier this season. I know you didn't want it. Langevin into center ice. Dumps the puck in wide of the Quebec goal. It comes off the boards. Here's Bossy trying to go into the far corner. He was checked, and the Nordiques able to clear it off the stick of Goulet and into center ice. Langevin over to Persson. Persson pulled it away from Cote. Stefan Persson, left side, off the boards for Langevin. He slaps it into the Quebec zone and up into the crowd as it went over top of the glass. The Islanders have made a player change. Kaller has come out with Goring and Bob Bourne. On defense, it'll be Lorimer and Dennis Potvin. Lorne Henning not in the Islander lineup tonight. He is back in the press box with a walkie-talkie. Using Blaine Sutter back in the bench to keep posted on what...
I wonder why they didn't give the headset to Billy Smith.
Billy'd want to be telling jokes all night. Potvin trying to clear the puck in his own zone. It came out in front of the net. Anton Stastny to Peter Stastny. Stastny in front, shoots. Oh, and Resch just got a glove in front of that. Good chance for the Nordiques early in this hockey game. Now Bourne up the right side to Kaller, too far. They're aside by Graham in the Quebec goal. Nordiques come into center ice again. Stastny across the line on the right side. Peter Stastny shot. Blocked by Resch, and he covers up and holds on. Well, Quebec has come not just to watch Mike Bossy, apparently.
Stastny, Peter Stastny, close call. What a save by Glenn Resch as the Quebec Nordiques move in. Peter Stastny around Dennis Potvin, moves it on goal, makes the shot. Glenn Resch makes the save on number 11, Jamie Hislop. It was Stastny not shooting but passing to Hislop, standing right on the edge of the crease.
Now it's Tonelli, Nystrom, Along with Tambellini up front for the Islanders. Jacques Richard bumped on the boards in the Islanders zone, and Tonelli dumps one to center to Nystrom. Bob Nystrom in across the line, but the pass out of the reach of Tambellini. Held in. Here's Nystrom from the blue line. Can't get around the defensive work of Kim Claxon. Back come the Nordiques, 3-on-2. A quick shot. Resch the save. Juggled it and held on. And sticks up a little high as Hunter and Lane shove at one another. Now everybody converges in the corner to the right of Glenn Resch.
Quebec Nordiques using what they do best. The best weapon is their skating ability, and they skate well. A team you have to keep in close check, particularly early in the game.
Well, at Boston this afternoon, Charlie Simmer came within a goal of tying the Rockets' feet. He had 6 goals, or at least 3 goals, I should say, in that 6-4 victory. The final one coming with 1 second left on the clock.
You know, I switched my TV on today, and 6 seconds left, Dion taking the face-off, and boom, Charlie Simmer got his 3rd goal.
Understand that face-off was in the Boston zone, and their goal was empty.
Yeah. Jerry Cheevers goes for the tie in that case.
Now here's Borrell failing to clear it out of his own zone. Weir back to Claxon. Fired one that hit Richard and went wide. Now Resch out of the net covers up as Weir came in for the Nordiques.
Kenny Morrow doing a good job tying up Jacques Richard right in front of Glenn Resch. Dangerous man, Richard, in front of the net. His namesake was equally or more so as far as being dangerous in front of the net.
They have Serge Bernier at center ice on this line. Richard on the one side. Bernier to take the face-off against Tonelli. Bernier got the draw back to the blue line. Dupont shot was blocked. Comes back and cleared into the center ice zone. Richard with it now. Got it to Claxon. Kim Claxon, formerly with Pittsburgh, plays it off Tambellini down into the Islander territory. The Islanders send Lane back for it, up to Tonelli, down to Tambellini. Tambellini at center, his pass went off the stick of Weir. Nystrom poked it away from the defenseman, Piché. Comes on the far side for Tonelli, into the corner to Nystrom. Nystrom out in front. Tonelli can't get around the defensive work of Claxon. And Richard backhands it down into the Islanders zone. Quebec will be called back for icing the puck. There's a break in the action with the score. Islanders nothing, the Nordiques nothing.
This Bud's for everyone who puts it down in black and white.
This Bud's for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Islanders 6-0-0 lifetime versus Quebec. They have not lost or tied Quebec.
It's Trottier, Bossy, and Gillies. Trottier in front of the backhand shot go wide. Bossy chasing the puck. It's cleared away from him to Persson at the point. Persson shoots. That's deflected. Trottier slapping at it. And the Nordiques able to clear up around behind the net. Trottier put it out in front of the goal. Knocked away from him by Goulet and down into the Islander territory. Backboard is Persson to Gillies on the left side. Over to Stefan Persson. Persson at the blue line to Langevin. Langevin into center ice. His right wing pass was deflected. Cote with it at center ice. Alain Cote checked. Now Dupont shoots one into the Islander zone. Resch kicks that aside for Langevin. Langevin turning to get away from Fatorik. Over in the right wing to Persson. Persson back to Dave Langevin. Langevin up the left side to Gillies. Back to Langevin. Right wing intended for Bossy. He's across the line to Gillies. Gillies unable to get through the crowd in front. And back comes Fatorik. Fatorik with Fischler. Fischler takes the pass across the Islander blue line. Tried to hand it back to Fatorik, but Bossy came back to steal it. Mike Bossy can't get away from the check of Cote. Now Gillies dumps it into center. Dupont could have played it. And the Nordiques go back. Bossy, Trottier, Gillies line heads for the bench. Out comes Bourne, Caller, and Goring for the Islanders. No score in the first period as the Nordiques dump one down into the Islander territory. Lorimer picks it up back of the goal. Up the right side for Caller. Anders Caller forced back of the net. He and Goulet. And Peter Stastny came in with the check, and the puck is loose on the opposite boards. Goring with it. Goring to Caller at center. Anders Caller across the Quebec line. Over to Bourne. Bourne was checked. And the Nordiques slap one around the boards in their own zone. Back of the net is Kaller trying to put it out in front. Knocked down with a high stick as Bob Bourne flipped it out of the air. And play is called. We get a break in the action with the score. Islanders nothing, Quebec Nordiques nothing.
Islander line, Goring, Kaller, and Bourne. What an exciting line.
They crisscross. They have the speed as well. And the accuracy of a Kaller is incredible. Now the puck in the center ice zone following the draw. Dennis Potvin to Lorimer. Back to Potvin on the left side. Dennis up the right wing to Kaller. Off his stick. Anton Stastny controls it. Back into his own zone for LaRiviere. LaRiviere almost handed it to Goring. Now back into the Islander territory. Lorimer ahead to center for Kaller. Now to Goring. Here's Butch Goring at center ice. 3 Nordiques back. Goring over the line. Shoots one. Pad save by Graham. And the rebound comes back to Potvin. Dennis Potvin in around the boards. Intended for Goring. Potvin with it again to Goring. And it went off his stick. Lorimer in the far corner. Lorimer lost control of it. And Stastny cleared it right to Kaller. Kaller in front to Goring. Butch Goring knocked down. The puck loose. And Stastny starts back for the Nordiques. Ahead into center ice for Anton Stastny. The two brothers across the line together. The pass to Hislop. He's checked and it's loose at center ice. Chasing it is Denny Potvin. Potvin to Bourne. He's over the line on his off wing. Bourne into the corner. Stops. Unable to center as Pichet took him out of the play. Now back comes Stastny. Anton into center ice to Peter. Across the line. Peter Stastny chased to the corner by Morrow. The puck ends up on the stick of Tonelli. 3 Nordiques back as Tonelli comes to center with Tambellini. Tonelli over the line. Unable to get around the defense. The puck loose. Claxon with it now. Claxon dumps it off the boards into center and all the way down into the Islander zone. Fresh playing it back of the goal. Morrow picks it up in the far corner. The Nystrom off his stick at center ice. Nordiques with it again. To Hunter too far. Here's Morrow. Morrow to Tambellini. It went off his stick. Tonelli racing it over the line. Picks it up. Tonelli back of the net. Put it out in front. It's loose. Cleared just wide as the Quebec defense came back quickly. Now Richard up on the right side. Pichet to Hunter. Hunter over the line. Left wing pass into the far corner. Goulet trying to center. He's hammered by Nystrom and Tambellini picks up the puck. Gives it to Tonelli. Tonelli at center ice over the Quebec line, but they're calling it back at an offside as Tambellini had been shoved in ahead of the play.
Good action, both ends of the ice. The team seemed to be picking things up. They got off again. To a slow start. John Tonelli, always a spark plug. Islanders out of their own end. Steve Tambellini to John Tonelli. Tambellini running a little interference as Tambellini down his left wing side cuts in. Steve Tambellini a little ahead of Tonelli as they cross the blue line. Offside, stoppage of play. Play picking up. Bossy out on the ice again with Trottier and Gilly.
Bonjovic on defense, got the puck to Persson, to Trottier, turns outside the Quebec line. Trottier shooting one around the boards. Graham cuts it off back of the net. Played it to the corner, comes to the blue line to Persson, centers one in front, got through the defense. Bossy with it in the corner, puts it out in front. Gillies was there but couldn't snap it by Graham. The Nordiques fired off into the center ice zone. And over the line is Fischler. Fischler and Cote. Cote trying to cut in. He's upended, and there'll be a penalty against the New York Islanders. Quebec Nordiques with a weak power play will get an opportunity here now. There's a break in the action with the score. Islanders nothing, Quebec Nordiques nothing.
Dave Langevin, the first penalty of the game. Alain Cote looked like he had him half beat as Dave Langevin reaches out with his left hand, pulls Cote off balance. He still made it across in front of the net, in front of Glenn Resch, but did not get the shot away.
Time in the penalty is 7:33. The Nordiques holding it in at the Islander blue line. They have Richard on this right wing side. The puck comes to Bernier into Jacques Richard. Back to Bernier. Bernier over to the far side. A drive grabbed by Resch. And he holds on. And Charles plays it down into the Quebec zone. It was Rochefort playing the left wing, or the left point at least. Bernier and Rochefort out there together. Killing it off for the Islanders. Kaller and Bourne into center ice. The play broken up as Stastny was checked. Kaller got it to Bourne. He's over the Quebec line. Bourne unable to get around Serge Bernier. Back come the Nordiques. Peter Stastny on the right side. To Anton. Back to Richard. Richard shoots. He scores. Jacques Richard scores for the Nordiques. A goal at 7:17.
Jacques Richard, his 29th goal of the season, breaks long string of time, shutout time for the New York Islanders. Bobby Bourne has the puck stolen away, and quickly the Quebec Nordiques come back. Peter Stastny to Richard in the high slot. A quick shot by Richard catches inside the left post. And the Quebec Nordiques take a 1-0 lead as they came out of their end quickly. The Islanders making a bid, short-handed to score. Peter Stastny makes the pass to Richard, a good low pass on the ice, and he put it again low inside the left post.
Both Stastny brothers in on that power play goal by Richard, so the Nordiques are up 1-0. Offhand to Lorimer. Lorimer's pass blocked at the Islander line into center ice and cleared right back for Potvin now. Dennis at his own line. To Trache on the left side. Trache shot went in over the line. That was deflected. Here's Lorimer with it. Into the corner to Bossy. Bossy centers. Trache in. Can't get a shot away. Ryan Trache in the corner. Now got it to Gillies. Gillies trying to come out of the corner. Looks for a man. Gave it to Trache back in the net. Ryan Trache to Gillies. His shot hit the post. Bossy is upended in front of the net, and DuPont is going to take the penalty. DuPont will get the call here. The Islanders will go to the power play.
DuPont is not only going to get a penalty, he's going to get an abuse of the official or a 10-minute misconduct. A break in the action with the score. The Quebec Nordiques 1, the New York Islanders 0. Andre DuPont, a 2-minute hooking penalty on Mike Bossy. And in it, as he turns to referee Greg Medill, DuPont, a verbal abuse on the official. DuPont has 4 minutes in the penalty box. The Islanders have a power play.
Hooking and unsportsmanlike conduct. Here's Trache feeding the puck back to the blue line to Persson. And it hit the linesman up on the glass into the crowd, and we'll get a face-off just inside. Now they're going to move it just outside the blue line.
Islanders still leading the National Hockey League in power play effectiveness, 31.9%. They've scored 58 power play goals in 182 opportunities. The Quebec Nordiques penalty killing, 74.3. That's below average.
You know, the opponents are getting more power play chances against the Islanders. Over the last 20 games, it's quite a wide margin there. Now Trache in deep in front to Bossy, and it was tipped away from him. Bossy trying to come out of the corner, deep in the Quebec zone. Mike Bossy, chase to the boards, into the corner now to Trache. Trache to Gillies. Mark Gillies turns, goes to the corner with it. Gillies put it out in front, that's cleared by the Quebec defense. Here's Persson at the blue line. Into the corner, intended for Trache, knocked away from him. They go to the boards. Trache ran into Hunter. Persson is there as well. Hunter knocked down, and the puck going to pile up, and we'll get a face-off. The Islanders have had only 58 power play chances. The opponents have had 83 in the last 20 games. Does that tell you something?
Yeah, the Islanders' penalty killers are getting a lot more action than their power play. Obviously doing a pretty good job. Jiggs, a note in the game at Washington. Washington leads 1-0 in the first period. Gilbert Perreault has been taken off the ice on a stretcher. We'll hope that doesn't develop into too serious a problem for Perreault.
He and the Buffalo Sabres are due here at the Coliseum on Monday night, Potvin got the puck to Caller in the corner. He was checked, and the Nordiques able to clear it out of there.
See that Al Arbor taking Gillies, Bossy, and Trache off the ice, give them a bit of a break. They've got a 4-minute penalty going, 2:55 left in it.
Now Potvin carries the puck over the Quebec line. Potvin in front to Caller. Caller to board, and the pass went behind him. Serge Bernier runs into Persson on the left wing boards. Bob Bourne got it loose for Potvin. Centered one, it was broken up, and Cote taps it down into the Islanders' zone. Glenn Resch leaves it back of the net. Potvin up the left side to Goring. Takes the turn in front of his own net. Goring at the blue line into center. Butch Goring across the Quebec blue line. Trying to get it to Caller. That was deflected. Goring with it. Dumps it outside the line. Potvin picks it up at center ice. 20 seconds left in this first power play. Potvin over to Gillies. Let it go to Trache, who's just come out on the ice. Now Bossy joins him, but the Nordiques control the puck, forcing the Islanders to go back. Glenn Resch played it to the boards. Bernier just dumped one around behind the net, and Gillies is there. Clark Gillies being checked in his own zone. He and Fischler on the boards. Now the puck comes to Potvin. Dennis carries it back to the net. Up the left side to Persson. Persson to Trache at center ice. Over to Clark Gillies to Bossy, but they rule it was offside.
Mike Bossy, good head of steam, breaking down the right wing. Clark Gillies tries to tip the puck to him, but Bossy just a little bit ahead of the puck. Charlie Simmer leading the National Hockey League, 49 goals. And of course, the other story here at the Coliseum against the Quebec Nordiques as Michael Bossy tries to overcome not just 49, but 50. Big undertaking, boiling down to one game.
And Bossy admitting in the press today that he put most of the pressure on himself. Now the puck comes to the blue line. Persson to Gillies. Shoots, he scores! Clark Gillies fires one off the right wing boards. We're tied 1-1.
A wrist shot goal right between the legs. Give the Islanders a first goal. Ties the game at 1-1 as Stepan Persson makes a nice play to Gillies, and Gillies shot with Bossy standing right in front of him. Goes between the legs of goaltender Ron Graham.
Now the Nordiques back in the Islanders zone. The shot deflected. Claxon a drive. Hit Lane in front of the net. Picked up by John Tonelli. Tonelli turns, plays it around behind the net to Lane. Gord Lane pulls it away from the check of Peter Stastny, dumps it to the far corner. Chasing it is Morrow to Nystrom. Nystrom didn't see it originally, and now the Islanders have cleared it into center ice. Claxon is back. Nystrom, Tonelli, Tambellini up front. The two Stastnys for Quebec with Hislop as the forward line. Kenny Morrow turning. Plays it off the boards. That'll go the length of the ice, and the Islanders are going to be called for icing. There's a break in the action with the score tied. Islanders won, the Nordiques won. Getting ready for a face-off in the circle to the right of the Islander goal. On the draw, the puck came to Morrow after Tambellini had won the face-off. Morrow trying to come out on the left wing boards, was checked. Richard had it in his skates, couldn't control it. Out comes Tonelli. John Tonelli over the Quebec line. Tonelli to Tambellini. Tambellini centers, and it does point wide. Sort of a half shot, half centering attempt. Morrow with a shot deflected off Tambellini, and chest save. Nystrom tries to come through in front. That went wide of the net. Tonelli got a slap on the left cheek, I believe, in his effort to get a stick on it. Here's Nystrom in the corner. Bob Nystrom back in the net. Oh, and a hard hit on Medill, the referee. Jim Claxon. Round the boards to Goulet. He clears it into center ice. Back for the Islanders is Gordy Lane. Lane banks one off the boards into the Quebec zone, but Tonelli hadn't been able to get back on side yet.
Greg Medill takes a heavy hit from Claxon as he went after Bob Nystrom. The boo you hear in the background. First period score, Rangers 1, Vancouver 0. Pittsburgh is leading the Calgary Flames in the first period 1-0. Buffalo has now gone ahead of Washington 2-1. That's also in the first period. Hartford and Toronto are tied at 1 apiece in the first period.
Question for the fans tonight on the board. Who was the last goaltender to win the Hart Trophy?
Bernie Parent or Jacques Plante?
You got it. One of the two. Now, which one was it? Here's Barrick over the line, trying to feed it through to Bossy in the Quebec zone, and he was steered wide. Nordiques trying to come out. Peter Stastny to Hislop. Hislop into the center ice area, fires a long shot that went wide of the net, rolled up the mesh at the back of the goal, but Langevin is there. Dave Langevin over to Lorimer. Lorimer with a little less than 7 minutes to play in the first period to center ice over the Quebec line. Shoved it into the corner for Howitt. Here's Howitt trying to center one. Came off the stick. Bossy after it now. Bossy tried to put it out in front. That was broken up. Into center ice comes Weir. Weir across the line with Fatorik. Weir backhanded one in front. Rest steers that aside to Bossy on right wing. Back to Lorimer behind the net. Lorimer to the far corner. Ahead to Merrick. Merrick gives it to Bossy at center ice. Bossy couldn't get completely away from Fatorik. Cote ran into Bossy. Now here's Howitt over the Quebec line. Gary Howitt pulling to the left. Upended, knocked down. Merrick a shot blocked by Graham. And the Nordiques take over. Out into center ice comes Robbie Fatorik. Fedoruk across the line with Weir. Fedoruk dumps it through in front. Rush out of the net. Knocked it away from Weir. And Lane is covered up, clearing the puck into center ice. Riviere with it for the Nordiques. Gary Riviere shot it in off the skates of Lorimer. It's Kaller with Merrick, and now Bourne out for the New York Islanders as Gord Lane plays it over to Lorimer. Ahead to Kaller off his stick. Away from the Quebec defenseman Rochefort. He'll have to go back for it. 5:34 left in the first period of play. Nordiques into center ice. Up the right wing side. Stastny across the line. Peter Stastny to Anton, and the pass failed to work. Kaller has it. Kaller off the boards to Kenny Morrow. Morrow into center. Nordiques back. They lost the puck. Goring couldn't break around the Riviere. They just left it at the line for a moment. Then covered up quickly, and now offside being called. We'll get a face-off. 5:11 remaining in period number 1.
I'm going to take a guess, and I'll say Jacques Plante.
You were right. Jacques Plante, and the year was 1962.
1962, most valuable player in the National Hockey League. Unusual for goaltenders to get it. As you can see, that 20 years, 19 seasons. There hasn't been one since.
I often think they're very deserving, but they're overlooked in a case like that. Goring got the puck to Kaller across the Quebec line. Now to Bourne. Bob Bourne is checked. Out come the Quebec Nordiques. We're tied 1-1 here in the first period. Stastny across the line on the left side. Shoots it around the boards. Resch back of the net to cut it off. Glenn Resch up the near side. The Riviere held it in. A shot deflected off Lane. Now they center it out in front again. Cleared by Morrill this time. Rochefort back in the Quebec defense. Head to Peter Stastny. Headed it right to Morrill. Now to Bourne. Bob Bourne at the blue line. Fires a long shot. Bad save by Graham. Rochefort starting out. Rochefort works it off the boards into the Islanders zone. Resch has it back of the net for Lorimer. Bossy, Gillies, and Trottier up front as Lorimer tried to feed it up the left wing. Held in by Richard. Richard knocked down, and Potvin is going to get the gate. And as Potvin will go to the penalty box, there's a break in the action with the score. Islanders 1, the Nordiques nothing. 1-1 tie, excuse me.
Islanders penalty to number 5, Dennis Potvin, 2 minutes for holding. Time of the penalty, 15:53. That's Potvin of the Islanders.
Well, coming up for the New York Islanders next Monday night, the Buffalo Sabres are at the Coliseum. Follow the Islanders as they head for another championship season on Sports Channel, your box seat to New York sports at home. And Notre Dame hockey makes its Sports Channel debut tomorrow afternoon at 4 when the Fighting Irish take on Denver University. Both teams return to Sports Channel Tuesday night at 9 for another night of hockey action, only on Sports Channel.
Dennis Potvin gets the gate. The Islanders' third penalty as he pulls Jacques Richard down in the corner as Richard tries to beat him on the outside. Potvin for holding at 15:53. The Quebec Nordiques power play 17.1. They have to be, if not the lowest, the second worst power play in the National Hockey League.
Well, they've made it work once tonight, and Richard has the puck again. Back to Bernier from the line, and the shot deflected up into the crowd. Goring, Trottier, Persson, and Langevin for the Islanders. 3:53 remaining in the opening period, and I really do know what the score is. It's 1-1. I saw both goals. Just couldn't remember them.
Well, listen, you have a lot to remember some nights, Jake.
I did remember to get a picture of you into the mail to a dating service in Los Angeles and see what we can do for you for
Please.
the All-Star game and banquet and all the rest of the festivities out there.
Who are they going to answer to, you or me?
Directly to me.
Oh, wonderful. Listen, the mail, the way it works, for heaven's sake, some days the Pony Express is quicker.
You should be more concerned about the picture. It's the one that Playgirl magazine rejected.
You didn't say why, though.
Did I have to? It wasn't the Staples. Bernier feeding the puck to Stastny at center ice. Left side for Goulet, trying to move in around the defense. Comes back to Bernier, to Richard, to the blue line to Bernier. Serge Bernier to Jacques Richard. Richard chased to the boards, got away from Langevin. Richard back to the blue line, now into the corner for Stastny. Couldn't control it. Langevin trying to play it out. Richard got it to Bernier, to Jacques Richard. Richard a drive, fresh the save, and he holds on. Richard teed it up for that good quick shot.
Good play by Dave Langevin. Going down at the point he did, he gave Chico Resch likes a look at it. As Jacques Richard tees it up, Langevin goes down. Resch knows that if the puck clears him, he's going to have to stop it. So he's looking for a high shot. Automatically, Langevin going down in the way he did allows Resch to look at it, and he knows anything low is going to be stopped by Langevin, and he cradled it quickly in his arm.
Now Bob Bourne on the face-off, got the draw to Langevin, works it around the boards, intended for Kaller, held in on the far side, Anton Stastny with it. Stastny trying to come through in front, fires one, Resch the pad save, and Langevin is able to clear the rebound, but they are unable to get it out of the Islanders' zone. Now Langevin with it again, slaps it this time, and hit Bernier at the blue line. Comes outside the line, and is being called. We'll get a face-off with 45 seconds remaining in the penalty to Dennis Potvin.
I get the feeling there's a lot of hesitation in the Islanders' part. That may have come from this whole thing about the 50 goals in 50 games, even in killing a penalty. Bobby Bourne has the puck 10 feet inside the blue line, his own blue line, just wants to shoot it down the ice. He hesitates again, and Quebec were able to keep it in, and the result was a shot on net.
Now Trottier on this face-off. The puck comes back to Fatorik. Bobby Fatorik to Richard, back into the Quebec zone. Rochefort got it to Fatorik, back to Rochefort, out on the left wing side, across the Islander line, but it was poked away by Morrill. Anton Stastny had it stolen by Bourne, but he couldn't get around Fatorik. Bourne to Stastny. Peter Stastny into the center ice zone, right side, Fatorik across the Islander blue line, trying to feed one off at the side of the net. It was cleared by Resch to Trottier. Brian Trottier pokes it out of his own zone, just did get it over the blue line. Richard controlling it. Jacques Richard at the center ice stripe. Richard, checked by Trottier. The puck goes to Fatorik. Fatorik shooting it down into the Islander zone, and Potvin is back on. Teams at 6 aside. 40 lane, up to Potvin, too far, and it'll go the length of the ice. Islanders are going to be called for icing the puck with 1 minute and 56 seconds remaining in this opening period. These two teams go at one another again a week from tonight at the Coliseum in Quebec City, and that'll be the 4th and final meeting of the regular season. Then a 3-game road trip concludes on Sunday with the final game between the Islanders and the Boston Bruins. Next Sunday at the Boston Garden, it will be an afternoon game. 1:15 start in Beantown.
Early in Boston. 3-8-2, the Quebec Nordiques. In their last 13 road games, they've won 3, lost 8, and tied 2.
It's Steve Tambellini at center ice, Bob Nystrom and John Tonelli on the wings. Langevin out on the Islander defense along with Persson. Tambellini got the face-off away from Hunter. Langevin picks it up. Drops it off for Persson, trying to get around Hunter. Comes out of the far corner. Persson at the blue line, up the left wing. Tonelli tips it in over the Quebec line. Claxon is there. Claxon chased to the corner. Knocked down, a pile up, and the puck is underneath the Quebec defenseman for a face-off.
Islanders have not got their game going yet. They do not seem to get a rhythm, a flow. Neither have the Quebec Nordiques. No one seems to be really moving the puck, passing it well. A lot of passes are in the feet. And that, of course, one bad pass generally results in a second.
We're tied 1-1 here at the Coliseum. Hartford and Toronto tied 1-1 tonight as well. Local powerhouse St. John's University brings their basketball team into the Coliseum against highly ranked Oregon State. The date is February 14th. St. John's Redmen and Oregon State Beavers, 3 o'clock in the afternoon here at the Coliseum. Tickets available at all Ticketron outlets and the Coliseum box office. Langevin with a shot that got through the defense, but is cleared just in time. Goulet handed it to Tonelli. Tonelli dumped one into the corner. The Nordiques got it to the line, away from Persson, down into the Islander zone. Comes out in front, a shot kicked aside. Goulet got a pretty good shot away, but Resch was able to make the pad save. Now John Tonelli to Langevin as he rounds the net. Langevin to Nystrom to Steve Tambellini. 2-on-2 at center. Tambellini to Tonelli. He's across the line. Tonelli shoots. Oh, and an arm save by Ron Graham. Nordiques feed it up on the left wing side. Into center ice is Dale Hunter. Hunter across the line. Goulet shooting off the stick of Resch. Islip back of the net to Goulet. Comes out in front. Tried to center one to Hunter. That was blocked. Now Hunter got a shot away. And again, Resch able to make the save.
Glenn Resch twice now. Off Goulet and off Hunter. 2 fine saves. The 2 best of the game for he. At the other end, Ron Graham. A fine stop. John Tonelli whistles a shot, a slap shot from his left wing position. Caught just the outside edge of Graham's arm. Big play, picking up as the Quebec Nordiques trying to work the puck out in front to Hunter. He finally gets it, gets the shot away quickly. Resch right there to make the save.
Now here's Bossy breaking up, following the faceoff. Bossy over the Quebec line, can't get around Dupont. Rote chased to the boards by Clark Gillies. Bossy coming back, unable to pick up the puck, however. Lorimer has it at center ice, up the right wing. Gillies is too well covered. Now Gillies dumps it back for Potvin. Half a minute remaining in the first period. Bob Lorimer with the puck. To Clark Gillies across the line, but they're ruling that Bossy moved in ahead of Clark Gillies, nullifying the rush.
Panarella, please report to security. Matt
A little
Panarella.
anxious on the part of Michael Bossy as he charged in again. He has done that twice now in the period as Gillies advances with the puck. Mike Bossy trying to break for the net is a half a step ahead.
Bossy with 48 goals, 33 assists for 81 points. He's on the right wing. Clark Gillies on the left. Trache at center. Trache got it in over the line. Bossy unable to control it, however. Now Lorimer at center ice. To Potvin up the left wing to Clark Gillies. And again, the Islanders are called offside.
Brian Trache, this time Gillies again with the puck. He is stationary at the Islander blue line. Brian Trache, everybody working hard to open up some ice for Mike Bossy. And the Islanders called again offside.
So the faceoff comes back to the center ice stripe. 15 seconds left in the period. Trache got the draw back to Potvin, over to Lorimer. Lorimer to the Quebec line, dumps one around the boards. Graham out of the net, plays it to the far corner. Here's Lorimer at the blue line. Lorimer shooting, that's deflected wide as Graham got a stick on it. Bossy ended up in the deck, and there's the horn, ending the opening period of play. The Islanders in a 1-1 tie, but they had a chance right at the dying gasp, practically.
Bobby Lorimer gets a shot away. It's kind of a half a shot, a half a flip. And Ron Graham at the last minute saw it through the traffic and made the save.
So the score at the end of the first period, New York Islanders 1, the Quebec Nordiques 1.
Oh, it's time once again for
Silver, one of the world's most precious metals. In New York, there are a wealth of places where you can spend a fortune for it, but only one place where it's free. Chemical Bank. Invest at least $5,000 for 6 months in one of Chemical's savings accounts, and we'll reward you with a sterling silver medallion. So tomorrow, after breakfast at Tiffany's, make it lunch at Chemical.
sweepstakes winners.
Stan Fischler back at the studio at Nassau Coliseum. We have a 1-1 tie. The Islanders and the Quebec Nordiques, and in that period, Mike Bossy did not score. It was Jacques Richard scoring his 29th of the season, the first goal of the game, and that was Quebec's. Peter and Anton Stasny, the brothers from Czechoslovakia, both getting assists on that goal at 8:17. The Islanders coming back. Clark Gillies, his 22nd goal of the season from Stefan Pearson at 11:18. Both goals were on power plays. The Islander goal, by the way, Quebec had successive 2-minute penalties to Moose Dupont. In that period, Dave Langevin for holding at 7:33, and when Langevin was off, that's when Jacques Richard got his goal. Then Dupont for holding 2 minutes, and then a rather absurd penalty on his part for unsportsmanlike conduct at 8:58, and it was while he was serving the second part of that penalty was when the Islanders got their goal. The final penalty, Denny Potvin for holding at 15:53, the shots on goal. The Nordiques 13, the Islanders 8. Mike Bossy, in his quest for goals, 49 and 50. He did not get a single shot on goal, and he was never in a threatening position in that period. A couple of scores. Pittsburgh 1-0 over Calgary in the first. Toronto 1-1 with Hartford in the first. Buffalo 2-1 over Washington in the first, and the Rangers 1-0 over Vancouver in the first period. It's 1-1 here at the end of the first. We'll be back in just a moment.
The New York Islanders Booster Club will be on Thursday evening, February 5th.
This Bud's for everyone who wraps it, stacks it, and Stan Saxon.
This bud's for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Eastern Airlines presents The Sun. It's closer than you think. From now till the end of January, it's just $99 away to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or West Palm Beach. Eastern's got the most wide-body non-stops with no restrictions, no advance purchase, and every coach seat is just $99 each way every day.
When you need the sun, there's only one. Eastern. When you need the sun, there's only one.
Stan Fischler in the studio at Nassau Coliseum. 1-1 tie at the end of the first period. No goals for Mike Bossy. My guest is Bob Berry, the coach of the LA Kings. They were only down 3-0 today at Boston Gardens. Came out with a 6-4 win. This guy on my right is one of the geniuses of the year, and you're doing a terrific job. I don't want to flatter you too much, but about the game today at Boston Garden, your man Charlie Simmer got a hat trick. How come he didn't get that fourth goal? What happened?
Well, it would have been tough. He got the third one today with only a second to go, but he hasn't received too much publicity, being where we are, a little bit isolated from the hockey community. But Charlie is really a great goal scorer, and it would have been nice today to see him to get 50 and 50. But we were pleased, much more pleased with the win this afternoon.
Bob Berry, the Islanders in the past week have been concentrating on helping Mike Bossy get the 50 and 50. The 50 and 50, in case you haven't heard, Maurice Richard did it in 1944-45, and there's been a lot of comment that the Islanders may have been pressing too much. Now, in terms of Charlie Simmer, how have the Kings been playing? Have they been trying to feed Charlie Simmer?
I don't really think so. I think it's probably been in the back of everybody's mind, including myself. But we had a situation last year when Charlie had scored in 13 straight games and was going for his 14th. And in that particular game, we were up a couple of goals, and I made some adjustments in my lines to try to accommodate Charlie. And it ended up we almost lost the game. So individual records are nice, and everybody likes to have them. And I certainly have tremendous respect for Charlie Simmer's ability. But winning hockey games is more important. I do identify with the Islanders. I think that Mike is so close to it, and they are such a solid team that they'd like to see him do it. But putting that pressure on yourself sometime can hurt the team.
Stan Fischler here with Bob Berry, the coach of the LA Kings. Bob, give me your analysis of the comparative styles of Mike Bossy, who now has 48 goals, and Charlie Simmer, who now has 49.
Well, I'll start with Mike. I don't think I've ever seen anybody in hockey, and I go back to another. I don't want to give my age away here, but I did see the Rocket play a few times. I don't think the Rocket could get the puck away the way Mike Bossy can. He just has a tremendous release. I watched him one day after practice. Brian Trottier was passing the pucks out to him, and the way he got them away and positioned in the net that they went into, just a fantastic quick release. On the other hand, I think Charlie Simmer, certainly a proven goal scorer. He's very, very tough around the net. I don't think he has the same kind of quickness that Mike does, but he seems to be in the right place at the right time.
The thing that's so remarkable about Charlie Simmer is that just about a year and a couple of months ago, Bob Nystrom was sitting where you are, and I said, what do you think of Charlie Simmer? He said, Charlie, who nobody really knew much about Charlie Simmer. Now, it had to be a terrific bit of insight on the part of Bob Berry putting Charlie Simmer on the line with Marcel Dion and Taylor. Now, when did it crystallize in your mind that these three guys might work well together?
I like to refer to it as coaching genius myself, Stan, but I had Charlie in the minors, and he played very well for me in Springfield. He had 42 goals one season, and we brought him up the next year, and really had high hopes for him. He didn't have that good a training camp, and at that time we just made a deal with Montreal for Murray Wilson, another left winger who we thought would fit in very, very well with Marcel and Dave Taylor. Murray really never played at all for us with the injury that he had, and we were really forced to bring Charlie up. I wish I could take more credit for bringing Charlie Simmer up, but we brought Charlie up and put him on a line with Marcel and Dave Taylor, and they just seemed to click right from the first game.
You know, the coaching profession in hockey may be a little more hazardous than walking along the top of the Empire State Building tower. And it's just been analyzed by somebody in Toronto by the name of Rex McLeod that when coaching changes are made, it very rarely has that much of an effect on the team. Now, last year, there was some talk that if the Kings did not get off to a good start this year, Bob Berry's job would be in jeopardy. How did you feel about that? And how do you feel about the way some of your colleagues are going by the wayside? Guys who are pretty good men, Tommy McVie, for example, Freddie Shero. How does it all affect you?
Well, I have deep feelings on that because I think that I instigated all that talk at the beginning of the year, and I did it in my own mind. I felt that we had a situation in Los Angeles. I had coached for 2 full years there. If we had the talent, was the preface of everything. If we had the talent and we didn't win, then I didn't expect to have a perpetual license to keep coaching Los Angeles. I think it's a shame that somebody like Tommy McVie, who I'm sure you well know, puts more into his job than just about anybody does, but with the salaries that the hockey players make, that I just don't think you're going to get rid of 4 or 5 top players if they're not producing for you. And it's the nature of the game, and it's unfortunate. I think all the coaches that I know put a tremendous lot of energy and are very intense in their job. And if you win, you succeed. If you don't, you fall by the wayside.
Stan Fischler here with Bob Berry, the coach of the Los Angeles Kings. Bob, watching that first period of play, do you feel that Bossy was on 8 turns, didn't get a shot on goal? Do you feel that he's doing anything wrong tonight?
Well, I think they started off with Bob Fischler covering him, and I think he got hurt. I believe I saw him go to the dressing room. I didn't hear a report in the press box, and then they moved number 9 Cote over to cover him. And I think that Quebec is just paying a little bit of extra special attention to him, and that, with what we mentioned before, maybe they're trying to feed him a little bit. I think it's going to take a power play. If they can open him up on the power play, I certainly expect to see him score.
Your team was considered a good club, the Kings, that is, for maybe 2 or 3 months of the season, and a lot of the experts figured that the Los Angeles club would do its nosedive around Christmas, and you'd fall back with the pack, and yet you're doing remarkably well. Now, what is the difference between the Kings now and it isn't the coach, we know that. You're the same guy. So what's the difference in the team, Bob Berry?
Well, I think starting last year, for the first time, we had some draft choices that could play. In years gone by, we were always picking first. Our first pick was the 5th or 6th round. Starting 2 years ago, we had picks in the first round, and these were players that came, and not only did they bring first and second round talent and ability with them, they brought an awful lot of enthusiasm with them, and I think that that is one of the reasons. I think there's Dave Lewis and Billy Harris, who certainly last year sort of took the short end of the stick after the Islanders won the Stanley Cup, but 2 of the finest young men that I know in the game, and certainly great hockey players, have helped us an awful lot.
One last question. The Kings were in Philadelphia recently, and I read that there was, in the LA papers, more complaints about the Flyers' style of hockey. What's Bob Berry's feeling about Philadelphia hockey in a nutshell?
Well, we've had some ugly incidences with the Flyers in the last couple of years, and I don't really know why they seem to take out their aggression on us. The other night, late in the game, they took a couple of cheap shots at Jimmy Fox, who's probably only 165 pounds, and Danny Bonner, who's 170 pounds, and we don't like to get involved in those situations, and I think that for lack of a better word, we'll say that it's very unfortunate that we get involved with incidences with the Flyers, because we are certainly not a physical team as far as fisticuffs and play like that is concerned.
Okay, thanks very much, Bob Berry, the man who has turned it around for the LA Kings, an insightful coach and a class hockey man. We'll be back with the start of the second period in just a moment.
copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Islanders and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Islanders and SportsChannel is prohibited. Now the only guy favoring Dallas in tomorrow's Super Bowl game with the highlights of the first period. Here's Ed Westfall.
You knew I was a good football fan, didn't you?
Yeah.
Highlights. Surprise, the Quebec Nordiques open the scoring after Bobby Bourne makes an effort for a shorthanded goal. Out come the Quebec Nordiques. Peter Stastny to Jacques Richard. Anton Stastny started the play out of the end, and Jacques Richard his 29th goal of the season as he blasts it, a wrist shot to the left of Glenn Resch. That came at 8:17, and the Quebec Nordiques were leading the Islanders 1-0. And then Clark Gillies came back for the Islanders. A power play goal with Moose Dupont in the net. Clark Gillies gets his 22nd goal of the season. Quebec trying to clear the puck, kept in by Stefan Pearson. Good play by Pearson. Quick wrist shot. Bossy standing right in front of Graham, could not tip it. Gillies had his 22nd goal from Pearson.
Now we're tied 1-1. The Islanders and the Quebec Nordiques awaiting the return of the two teams for the second period. Quebec outshot the Islanders 13-8 over the opening period of play. The next meeting of the New York Islanders Booster Club will be on Thursday evening, February 5th, 7:30 p.m. at the Wheatley Hills Tavern at 170 Post Avenue in Westbury. The special guest speakers, you single ladies in particular, will want to make note that Steve Tambellini and Dwayne Sutter, the two bachelors on the Islander team, will be the guests that evening. The date again is February 5th, 7:30. Time is running out to vote for your most valuable, most popular Islander player. You can vote by stopping by Gate 6 or Gate 15 and see Lindy or Alex at any of the home games. You must be a Booster Club member to vote, and the results of the vote will be announced at the Booster Club Annual Dinner Dance featuring Ed Westfall, and that'll be on February 18th at Anton's in Hicksville.
Glenn Chico Resch heads for his net. It's 24 square feet that he's assigned to protect and has done a fine job so far this season. Resch playing in his 21st hockey game has a 2.61 goals against average. That's like third or fourth now in the National Hockey League. Jiggs, you could probably give me the perfect statistic on that, or while you look at the Ron Graham at the Quebec Nordiques getting ready for the second period. Ron Graham playing in his 7th game. Nope, that's his 8th game with Quebec. He had 6 with LA. His 14th NHL game this season. 4.67 goals against average. That's pretty high.
It is. And before the puck falls out of the hand of Greg Medill, let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Islanders Hockey Network. To the left, the Nordiques to the right for period 2. Trottier, Bossy, and Gillies up front. Cote has moved up to try and do the job on Mike Bossy now after Fischler had been shaken up in the first period. Langevin back of his own goal, controlling the puck, got it to Pearson, ahead to Clark Gillies, into center ice. Here's Gillies shooting one from the line. That went wide of the net. Comes out in front. Gillies has the rebound, trying to center it, and that's cleared aside. Nordiques working around the boards. Pearson came in to take it away from Cote to Trottier at the line. He shoots. Graham the save, and he covers up and holds on.
Islanders pick up the play. It's something they'll have to do. Quebec would be only put into the game further if the Islanders did not begin to check them and skate. They showed spurts of it in the first period. Quebec skated pretty good. 13-8. They outshot the Islanders in the first period, even though the Islanders had one penalty that ran almost 4 minutes. A power play, I should say.
Mike Bossy did not have a shot in the first period. Here's Weir breaking it over the Islander line. A backhander went wide. Pearson deflected it to the last second. Langevin back of his own goal. Dave Langevin ahead to Bossy on the right side to Trottier. Trottier into center ice. Across the Quebec line. Trache to the right wing corner, centers it in front. Bossy was there, but they had 2 men on top of him. Cote dumps the puck into center, but Langevin is there. Langevin to Persson on the right side. Now to Trache. He's across the line. Brian Trache into the corner again. Goes back in the net. Tried to put it out in front. Did, and it was turned aside off the pads of Graham. Trache had been hauled down after the play. Here the Nordiques into center. Cote across the line. Alain Cote slipped one by Persson, but then couldn't pick it up again. Russians up the right wing. Bossy checked by Cote to the corner for Fatorik. Robbie Fatorik trying to come out in front was knocked down. Fatorik back at his skates. Worked it into the corner, but Goring is out now. Goring to Gillies on the left side. Clark Gillies trying to hit Bossy with a pass in the center ice area. Broken up, and Cote fires it back into the Islander zone. Minute and a half gone by in the second period. Langevin to Gillies. Back to Langevin. Dave Langevin over to Persson. Here's Persson at the blue line to Clark Gillies. Gillies shoots from the blue line. Stick save by Graham. Riviere back for the Nordiques. Harry LaRiviere coming out on this left side at his own blue line. Into center, dropped it off for Stastny. Anton Stastny to Rochefort. Up that right wing side to Hislop. It's across the line. Bumped on the boards by Potvin. And Bob Bourne feeds the puck to Lorimer. Lorimer comes out on the right side. To the Quebec line. Plays it around the boards. Back of the net. Graham just did get it away from Bourne. Now here's Goring with it to Bob Bourne back of the goal. Bourne trying to center one was knocked down. Peter Stastny takes over. Stastny ahead to Hislop. Now to Anton Stastny. He's over the Islander blue line with Hislop. Anton Stastny pulling to the left, and the puck just seemed to slip off his stick. Back comes Goring. Goring across the Quebec blue line. Puts Goring to Bourne. Bourne had trouble getting around Peter Stastny. The two of them on the boards together. It's dug loose. Kaller has it. Anders Kaller works it around behind the net. Put off by Graham before Goring was able to get there. Lorimer held it in, worked it back in the goal. Rochefort checked by Goring, and Lorimer. Lorimer pokes it into the corner. Tonelli chasing it. John Tonelli ran into Hislop. Now here's Goring in front to Kaller. Kaller couldn't pull it away from the defense. Lorimer with a shot. That was blocked. Kaller chases it to the boards, left to Fortunelli, back to Lorimer. Lorimer a shot, sails wide of the net. Potvin at the blue line, back of the goal to John Tonelli. Tonelli puts it out in front. Kaller couldn't get a stick on it. Potvin has it at center ice for the Islanders. Dennis Potvin to Steve Tambellini. Tambellini backhanding it into the Quebec zone. Chasing it is Rochefort. Rochefort just played it to the corner, picked up by Tambellini. Steve Tambellini out in front to Nystrom. He turns, shoots, and was blocked by the defenseman LaRiviere. Jacques Richard dumps it into center ice. Morrow coming back, has it for the Islanders. Ahead to Nystrom. Wheels in over the Quebec line. Nystrom trying to go around Rochefort. Put it out in front of drive. Blocked by Graham. John Tonelli testing Graham from about 15 feet out. There's a break in the action. With the score tied, the Islanders won, the Quebec Nordiques won. All set for a face-off to the right of the Quebec goal. Brian's up behind the Nordiques net. Blackson has it there. He and Pichet on defense. It's nice from Tambellini and Tonelli up front for the Islanders, and the Nordiques have just fired it down into the Islanders zone wide of the net and will be called for icing.
Fine effort by Bobby Nystrom as he goes down his right wing side. Trying to beat the defense, makes a one-handed pass to John Tonelli standing high in the slot. And Tonelli gets a fine shot away on the effort of Bobby Nystrom. Working well down the right wing side. Not easy to hold a player off with one hand, Rochefort, and take a shot with another.
Referee Greg Medill with his hand up in the air indicating no more changes by either team. The Islanders at home, of course, have the option of making the final player change, and Al Arbor did that. Trache, Bossy, and Gillies out there. The Nordiques wanted to get Cote back out to try and shadow Bossy. They have Goulet there at the moment. With Hunter on this face-off against Brian Trache. On the draw, the puck went to Claxon. Stolen by Trache. Brian Trache in front to Gillies. Clark Gillies shoots. That's deflected up into the crowd. Trache bumping a little bit with Dale Hunter as they came out from behind the net.
Good effort by Brian Trache as he steals the puck on the boards halfway in on the Quebec Nordiques end of the ice. And he took the puck, fed it to Gillies. Mike Bossy was moving in quickly on the right-hand side. but he was well covered. Gillies takes the shot. It's deflected by number 28, Andre Dupont, up into the seats.
We do have Cote out on the left side now, replacing Goulet. Hunter once more in the face-off against Brian Trottier. Dale Hoganson, who has been used sparingly, is on the Quebec defense. Cote comes over to take the face-off after Hunter's waved out. Cote tied up Trottier. The puck goes to the boards. Weir on top of Trottier. Bossy dug it loose. Mike Bossy trying to get by and check. Now the puck loose in the corner. Trottier with it around the boards. Held in by Gillies to Bossy. Bossy in front to Trottier, and it was out of his reach. Into center ice comes Hunter. Here's Hunter to Cote. Across the Islander line, and a shot deflected off Morrow and up into the crowd and almost into the radio booth.
No man's land again, just inside the blue line. The puck is rolling. Gordy Lane, the fans think he should have made a run at keeping the puck in, but they did not have to make the decision. Had he had tried to and missed, the puck was rolling and bouncing. He would have left defense partner Ken Morrow all alone with a 3-on-1 break. He made the right move by backing up, allowing Quebec to take the puck. Flurry of boos here in the Nassau Coliseum as the Rangers lead Vancouver 4-0 in the second period.
Here we're tied 1-1 as play gets underway. Persson with it back of his own goal. Persson and Langevin on defense. Trottier, Bossy, and Gillies up front. The puck came to center. Bossy tipped it to Trottier. Shoots one around the boards. Bossy and Gillies in after it. It's Bossy on the far wing. Around behind the net to Trottier. Trottier looks for a man in front. Trying to center. Bossy was being tied up. It comes back to Persson. Persson trying to come in around the right wings to Trottier. Trottier back to the net. Weir has got Bossy down in front of the net. There'll be a penalty against Quebec. Hoganson ties up Trottier as Weir takes over an interference call against Wally Weir. There's a break in the action. The score is tied. Islanders 1, Quebec 1.
Quebec penalty number 2, Wally Weir.
Wally Weir in the penalty box. 2 minutes. Interference on Mike Bossy. Bossy trying to get into a good scoring position as Trottier went behind the net. Weir took him out. That's a penalty.
On the face-off, the puck ends up behind the Quebec goal. The Riviere trying to work it out. They do into center ice. Here's a break for Goulet. Goulet deep in the Islander zone, trying to cut in and can't get around Resch. Resch came out and just poked it off his stick as Quebec trying to go for the short-handed goal. Goulet in the corner. It's picked up by Bossy, who's out on the left point. Bourne at center ice across the Quebec line. Bourne in front to Caller. And there's Caller into the corner. There's going to be another Quebec penalty. Caller has control of it. Back of the net to Bourne. Bourne shoveled one in front. It was broken up and cleared, and now play is called and a high sticking penalty. And a fight breaks out over in the far boards. Bob Bourne with one of the Nordiques. Linesman trying to get Hunter and Bourne separated and have. The Islanders are going to have a 2-man advantage to work on here, barring any further penalties at the moment. But Quebec came within a whisker of taking the lead again.
Michel Goulet had not get control of the puck as he broke away. Resch sees it. He's way out on an angle. Resch covering with his stick as he lays it down to keep him from coming back to the left of Glenn Resch and drops in front of it, swinging his stick out, forcing Goulet to the boards. On the ensuing play, right back in Quebec's end of the ice. The Islanders coming close. Andy Caller to Bob Bourne, and a fight broke out between he and Dale Hunter. As the Islanders come close again, Andy Caller moves the puck to Bourne. Bourne tries to get it to Caller.
Quebec penalty to number 32, Dale Hunter.
And Caller and Butch Goring get a swipe at it. The puck is bouncing. They do not get a play at the net. But then a fight broke out. I don't know how that happened, but Hunter and Bob Bourne.
Bourne of the Islanders, 5 minutes fighting,
5 minutes each for fighting. That just nullifies each other. But the Quebec Nordiques are going to be 2 men short for at least 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Good opportunity here for Michael Bossy. The Islanders have a 2-man advantage.
It's Trottier, Bossy, and Gillies up front.
Trache in the face-off against Vettoric. Trache got the draw, but Vettoric moving up. Knocked it away from him. The puck comes out to center ice. Persson for the Islanders. To Trache. Trache over the Quebec line. Gave it to Gillies on the right side. Here's Clark Gillies into the corner. Back of the net to Trache. Ryan Trache looks for a man. Over to Persson. Persson comes off the boards to Gillies in front. Back to Persson. Persson to the blue line to Potvin. Now to Bossy. Back to Potvin. In the Mike Bossy. Bossy can't get around DuPont. Potvin dumps it into the far corner. Persson puts it back in the goal to Bossy. Bossy into the corner. Out in front to Gillies. Clark Gillies lets it go, and that's deflected. Potvin knocked it down. Vettoric brings it out into center ice. Bobby Vettoric bears it back into his own zone. DuPont dumped it outside the line to Gillies. Now to Bossy. Comes in on left wing. Mike Bossy trying to go around the defense. Back to the net with it, and he couldn't control the puck. Clark Gillies to the blue line for Potvin. To Gillies again. Gillies starts in off the wing. Gives it to Trache. Trache sneaks back to the net. Looks for the man in front. To Gillies. Clark Gillies shoots. Pad save. The rebound came loose. Bossy has it back of the net. Out in front to Potvin. Dennis can't take the puck. Dennis Potvin now covering up. Got it away from Vettoric. Potvin at the Quebec line to Persson in the far boards. Persson to Trache at the side of the net. Ryan Trache back to Persson. Weir is out. Here's Bossy in front. Couldn't pull the trigger. Potvin without a stick. And he freezes the puck. Play is called, and there'll be a penalty against Vettoric. The stick had been knocked out of Potvin's hands at least.
Jiggs, I think you may be wrong here. Clark Gillies.
Islanders penalty to number 9.
It is Gillies, excuse me.
Islanders had possession of the puck. Dennis Potvin was trying to kick it when the whistle blew. Gillies gets a 2-minute tripping penalty with 31 seconds still left on the penalty. The second penalty, I should say, to the Quebec Nordiques. Mike Bossy gets a chance, but a little as the puck hit his stick, he went to make a stick handle with it. He went to move the puck and walk around the defenseman. He poked it away. On the same play, Clark Gillies gets a 2-minute tripping penalty. The sides will be even for 31 seconds, and then the Quebec Nordiques will have a power play for about 1 minute and 29 seconds.
The Islanders with Howitt, Merrick, Morrow and Lane out on the ice. Gordy Lane to Howitt, off his stick into the Quebec zone. Hoganson worked it off the boards to Richard. Richard back to Hoganson. Carries it into the center ice area. Hoganson pulls to the left over the Islander line to the blue line to Piché. Piché in front to Richard, and it tipped off Lane and into the net. Oh, it's 2-1 Quebec. Just a miscue in front of the New York Islander goal.
An odd goal coming in an odd game as 29. Piché to Richard. It hit Richard, then it deflected off Gord Lane's skate, bounced into the net as Peter Stastny came in from the right side. Richard pulled the puck in front. It hit Gordy Lane in the skate. Lane did not know it had hit it, and it hit him, went into the net, giving the Quebec Nordiques a 2-1 lead on a fluky goal, but it still counts as the Nordiques lead 2-1.
Richard's second of the night, his 30th of the season. It came with the teams at 5 aside, and now Quebec has a man advantage as Gillies is left in the box with a tripping penalty. Richard at center across the Islander line, pulling to the left side. Jacques Richard back to Piché. He's taken off the puck, and out comes Gorey. Down the right side, over the Quebec line, trying to get around Hoganson. Couldn't do it. It's cleared up on the near side. Piché in the Quebec defense takes it back to the goal. To the left side for Goulet. Goulet at the blue line. Into center, Peter Stastny. Knocked down by Potvin. The puck loose, and the goaltender, Resch, had to come out to clear it. Comes back to the blue line. Nordiques trying to hold it in and do. Every air shot was blocked. Now it's Caller coming out into center. Can't get over that center ice strike. Richard back for the Nordiques. Jacques Richard into center ice. Turned at the Islander blue line. Richard with it again. He likes to dump one in this time, and Lorimer gives chase. 25 seconds left in Gillies' tripping penalty. Here's Richard putting it back at the Islander goal, but Potvin takes over there. Dennis turns, dumps it into the center ice area. The Riviere to Rochefort. Rochefort played it off the stick of Trottier, then has to cover up. Forced back into his own zone. The rookie, Rochefort, comes all the way back of the Quebec goal. Ran into a broken stick, now plays the puck up to Goulet. Goulet to Serge Bernier at center. Bernier across the line. Gillies is back on. Here's Bernier playing a rink-wide pass. Comes off the boards to Gillies at center ice. Mark Gillies over the blue line. Gave it to Tonelli. Tonelli is checked and the puck bounces out into center ice. Picked up by Langevin. He backhanded it in on a delayed offside. Nordiques get it out of there. Now to Bernier. Bernier over the line. His shot drifted wide of the net. Resch fires it around the boards. John Tonelli will pick it up. Tonelli down the left wing into center ice. Tonelli across the Quebec line. Can't get around Hoganson, and Graham comes out of the net to clear the puck. Nordiques fire one into center. Back to DuPont, to Stastny. Anton Stastny couldn't catch up with it. Here's Nystrom for the Islanders, giving it to Tonelli. Off his stick, right to DuPont. DuPont over the line with a shot. That's went wide of the net. Now Hislop centers one. Bernier's shot drifted wide. Nystrom being tied up in the right wing corner. Picked up and turned by Persson. Persson into center ice. Over the Quebec line, gave it to Tambellini. Tambellini trying to center, and it's underneath Graham, comes loose in front. That one deflected and gave the Quebec goalie something to handle. Now Bernier gets a hard hit from Langevin as he dumps the puck into the Islander zone. It comes around the boards. Bichet fires one, scooped up, and Resch holds on for a face-off. There's a break in the action with the score. Quebec Nordiques 2, the New York Islanders 1.
Stefan Persson, a fine rush. Back pass to Steve Tambellini, pursued by 29, Dave Fischler. Saved by Graham. John Tonelli looking for the rebound. None forthcoming as Graham cleared the puck with some help from his defenseman, number 4, Kim Claxon. Good play. Stefan Persson on the back pass. His pass to Steve Tambellini goes to the net. Bobby Nystrom gets a chance at the shot. Graham the save. Tonelli could not get the rebound. A piece of glass has been knocked out of the mooring along the boards in the Islanders' end of the ice. A little delay here in the action. Going to flash Jiggs McDonald's hockey quiz now, who was the last goalie to win the Hart Trophy. That's the most valuable player in the National Hockey League. And you're right, Jiggs, it was Jacques Plante in 1962.
Benefit of the National Hockey League guide handy at all times.
Out-of-town scores. In the second period, Montreal 2, Philadelphia 1. Calgary, Pittsburgh tied at 1 apiece. Buffalo now leading Washington 3-1. Hartford and Toronto tied at 2 apiece. Detroit Red Wings leading the Colorado Rockies 2-0 in the second period. And as we had mentioned, the Rangers 4, Vancouver 0. A break in the action with the score, the Quebec Nordiques 2, the New York Islanders 1.
The morning sun in Florida. All winter long it invites you to play.
When you need the sun, there's only one.
And one airline can take you to more Florida sun than anyone at a price you can afford even this year. Come with Eastern to Orlando, to Miami, to Florida, to laugh, to live, to feel again.
When you need the sun, there's only one. Eastern. When you need the sun, there's only one.
With a little guidance from all-purpose man Ron Waskey. At the Islander bench, they found the right piece of glass, and Ron Asseltine, the linesman, puts it in place with a little help from the fans. Ready to resume the action. Ron Waskey, he knows every size of every piece of glass here in the Coliseum.
And now Howitt in a fight at the center ice area with Claxon. The rest of the players being directed to neutral areas as Claxon and Howitt go at it toe-to-toe. Moving around and Howitt on the ice. Claxon now being grabbed by linesman Grosseker. This is one of the stranger ones that you'll ever see. There's been a long delay looking for a sheet of glass. They didn't appear to be talking to one another or anything unusual going on. And then as the glass was replaced, all of a sudden the two of them started to throw the fists at each other.
I'll tell you, pretty good match that. Kim Claxon, can he fire him? He's a southpaw. He was just peppering away. Howard, of course, he can fire him, no question there.
He's opened up a gash. Claxon has opened up a gash on Gary Howitt. Over the left eye, it appears.
Well, they threw a flurry of punches. You never know whether any of them land, do any damage or anything, but for some reason they wanted to get at each other. They sure haven't been able to get at each other because of the ice time. Claxon has not played too much. Howitt has only been on the ice twice so far in this hockey game. Maybe it's something that boiled up from bygone days. Who knows?
What a flurry of punches thrown, though.
Bronowski now heading out toward Gary Howitt. Visibly, you can see blood on his face from here. Now, Claxon has tape on his wrist and hands. That could be a major penalty. I'm not sure whether it's a major or minor, but it could result in extra minutes and penalties. Having his hands taped, referee Greg Medill now looking at the hands of
He checked him out pretty good. He went over to take another look at Claxon in the penalty box and is conferring with his two linesmen, Brossiker and Asselstein. We'll just wait for it and see what the official call is.
Well, a pretty good matchup in size. Howitt 5'9", 175, and Claxon 5'10", 180. So that way it was even.
Quebec captain Robbie Fatorik doesn't seem to be too pleased with the fact that now Medill is going back to have another look
at the taped wrist. If
I
that's
think the rule states anything on the hand. I'm not sure about the wrist, but it seemed to come up around that thumb.
Can't tape the hands, I don't think. If he has a sprained wrist, if it's a result from an injury, then of course it's allowed. But if it's not because of an injury, it's not allowed.
Now another conference.
Greg Medill having a little hesitation on his part here, conferring with his two linesmen. Probably wants to know, one, how it got started. Michel Bergeron telling his captain Fatorik what he wants to confer to referee Greg Medill.
Bergeron, former coach of the Quebec Ramparts junior hockey team. Medill still very hesitant, still talking with Gord Brossiker. The penalties will be called at the 10:29 mark. The delay started with a broken sheet of glass, and then before the puck was dropped, Howitt and Claxon squared off. So we'll get those penalties, and we'll see what else is handed out here, if anything else. In the Islanders' schedule, Monday night, Buffalo Sabres here at the Coliseum. Then they go on a 3-game road trip in Toronto on Wednesday, Quebec City next Saturday night, and Boston next Sunday afternoon. Gord Brossiker is at the penalty box talking to Claxon. He may be finished for the night. He has come out of the penalty box. Brossiker sort of riding herd on him. Now Asselstein over as well. But they want him to head for the dressing room. And I believe it has to do with the tape job on his hands. Ed has gone to the National Hockey League rule book. It was something that was added a season or two ago. As you can see, those watching on Cablevision, on SportsChannel at least, can see the tape along the left hand and around the thumb. And it doesn't matter whether it's an injury or not. The fact that the tape is there.
He's got both hands.
Yes, he has.
Now that is, yeah, I'll find something in here. But both hands, I could see where they had one. I didn't know he had both, but I can see where he may have one hand taped because of an injury. But in this case, he has both of them, like a prize fighter.
Number 4, Kim Claxon.
We're getting the announcement on the penalties. Well, there's a break in the action.
Is there ever?
The score: Quebec Nordiques 2, the New York Islanders 1.
5 minutes for high sticking and 5 minutes for...
The announcement on the penalties, the way I have it, Howitt, a 5-minute major for high sticking and a 5-minute major for fighting. Claxon, a 5-minute major for high sticking, 5 5-minute major for fighting and a match penalty.
The match penalty has to be because of his hands being taped. There is definitely a rule that says you cannot tape your hands and wrists unless it's a result of an injury.
It'll be a 5-minute power play now for the New York Islanders. A major penalty, at least the additional 5 minutes on the major for match penalty. And it will give the New York Islanders an advantage here. Torek still complaining to referee Medill down in the corner to the left of the Islander goal. Michel Bergeron is still in the doorway at the Quebec players bench. Fans come up to chant Bossy. They want Michael to get a little closer to the feat performed by Rocket Richard in 1944-45. Bossy did not have a shot on goal in the first period tonight. He has been blanked in each of the last 2 games. He's been stuck at 48 for some time. And the Nordiques have a lead in the hockey game. Both goals by Jacques Richard. Clark Gillies has scored the Islander goal. Bossy, Trottier, Gillies up front, Persson and Potvin on the points. Torek, along with Alain Cote for the Nordiques. They have Dupont out on defense, along with Rochefort. On the face-off, the puck just went wide of the Islander goal as Torek elected to fire one. Potvin up the left wing boards to Trottier. Trottier into center, rink-wide pass to Bossy across the Quebec line. Mike Bossy to the blue line to Gillies. Now to Persson, to Gillies on the far boards. Gillies back of the net to Trottier. Bossy had been knocked down in front. The puck comes back to Potvin. Potvin shooting, that went wide of the net. Here's Persson at the point. Persson in along the boards to Trottier, to the corner for Bossy. Mike Bossy looks for a man to the blue line to Persson. Persson into Bossy, couldn't hold the pass. Bossy picks it up again at the Quebec line, pulling to the right side. Bossy to Potvin. Potvin comes in deep, went to center one, that was blocked. Potvin goes back to the Quebec goal now. Out of the corner, the Gillies at the side of the net. Gillies trying to set something up. Mark Gillies wrestled into the corner. Trottier with the puck, back to the point to Persson, over to Bossy. Bossy slips it back to Persson. He shoots, that went wide of the goal. Comes round the boards for Gillies, back to Potvin to Gillies. Mark Gillies to Trottier to Bossy, and he misfired on one. Here's Persson at the point. Persson to Potvin. Potvin back to Persson. Persson closes in. The puck blocked in front of the goal. Cleared to the right wing boards. Trottier with it to Potvin. Dennis at the line. Into the corner to Trottier. Trottier coming in around the goal. Back of the net with it. Trottier to the blue line to Potvin. Dennis a drive that was blocked. And Prote has backhanded it into the center ice zone.
Good penalty killing by the Quebec Nordiques. We have now confirmed that the match penalty was for the tape on the hands. And Howlett has received 4 stitches in the area above his left eye.
Goring leading the rush out of his own zone across the Quebec line. Rifled one off the pads of Graham. And the rebound is picked up and brought out by Goulet. Goulet to Bernier over the Islander blue line. His shot sailed wide of the net. Off the boards for Tonelli. Tonelli dumps it around the corner. Here's Goring with it now. Goring pulls it away from the Riviere. Gave it to Persson. 2:53 left in the Islander power play, and they have all that time to work on. Here's Tonelli across the blue line. John Tonelli around Bernier. Tonelli comes in on his off wing. Back of the net center. Keller scores! Andy Keller gets his 27th of the season.
What a play. John Tonelli brings the puck up ice. Circles. The penalty killer's to the corner, and as he starts to go behind the net, moves the puck in front. Andy Keller, one move from just to the left of Ron Graham, puts the puck in the top right-hand corner. He actually misfired on the shot, but it was in the right place. It was high into the top right-hand corner, or top shelf, as the players know it, to give the Islanders a 2-2 tie with the Quebec Nordiques. Andy Keller getting his 27th goal of the season, his 3rd power play goal. Still 2 minutes and 41 seconds left on the penalty to Kim Claxon for
having taped his hands and being involved in a fight. That's a game misconduct.
Now Tonelli on the left side, Kaller on the right with Goring at center. The puck cleared into the Quebec zone. Rochefort tried to fire it out of there, went off Kaller's stick. Hunter picks it up at center, fires from the blue line, and Resch steers it high over the glass into the crowd.
Quebec, they're not bashful on their penalty killing. They have had a couple of good attempts at Glenn Resch, as they do not give up easy. Number 32, let's fly. Dale Hunter. Glenn Resch deflects the puck off the glass up into the seats. Face off just to the right of Glenn Resch.
Goring on the draw, got the puck to Kaller. Kaller out on the right wing to center. The Quebec line had to pull to the left side, left it for Tonelli. Tonelli to Goring, centers it in front. Kaller was checked at the last second. Now Tonelli picks it up. John Tonelli back of the goal to Goring. Goring to the blue line for Bob Bourne. Bourne around Hunter into the corner to Goring. Butch Goring looks for a man. To the side of the net to Tonelli. Centers. Kaller shoots. He scores!
Well, what can you say? The Islanders, still 2:03 left on the penalty, have scored 2 quick power play goals. Andy Kaller, his second goal of the game, his 28th goal of the season to get the Islanders a lead, 3-2. John Tonelli again feeding the puck from the corner, and Rochefort, number 29, could not stave off Andy Kaller as he comes into the slot, and a second effort by Kaller nets him a goal, his second goal of the period, his second power play goal of the period, and the Islanders lead 3-2.
First time the Islanders have had the lead tonight. Trottier, Bossy, and Gillies out there together now. Trottier without his stick. The puck cleared around the boards. Persson at the point. He's taken out of the play. Gillies back for it. Art Gillies dumps one into the corner. Holgensen has it for the Nordiques and finds an opening, shoots at the length of the ice. 1:44 left in the major penalty against Claxon. Offhand from back of the goal. Dennis over to Persson. Persson into center ice, gives it to Trottier, across the Quebec line on left wing, shoots it around the boards. Here's Gillies with it now. Mark Gillies to Bossy. Bossy couldn't get there in time. It's loose in the Quebec zone. Persson pokes it to Trottier. Trottier to Bossy. Couldn't take the pass. Michael back of the net down to Gillies in the corner. Mark Gillies back to Mike Bossy. Bossy trying to come out in front, was checked. The puck loose, comes round the boards to Potvin at the point. Potvin to Gillies, back to Potvin, and he couldn't pick up the pass at the blue line. Islanders all the way back into their own zone. Exactly a minute remaining in this major penalty. Islanders have scored twice on this power play. Potvin at the blue line, leads the rush at center. Shot went in over the line, but it's deflected off Bernier and into the crowd.
Never seems to be any other way, but when you're trying and over-trying, it does not work out. The natural way is always the best, and in this case, Mike Bossy hesitating a couple of times when passes came to him, looking in the wrong direction, and I think generally concerned with where he is and position to the puck instead of just letting it all happen, has found himself not getting any shots at the net.
Now here's John Tonelli leading the rush over the Quebec line. Tonelli trying to cut right through the middle. Couldn't get a shot away. Nystrom checks his man. The puck comes to Persson. He is turned around completely and knocked down by Goulet. No penalty. Bernier with the puck. Bernier shoots one. Resch the save. Glenn Resch feeds it ahead to Tonelli. Now to Nystrom. Nystrom at center. Long pass across the line. Persson to Nystrom. Nystrom centers a drive. Hit the post as it came off Tambolini. Bernier again for Quebec. Into center to Goulet. Goulet across the blue line. The shot deflected by Potvin. Glenn Resch comes out of the net. Left the puck for Steve Tambolini. 6 seconds left in the Islander power play. Tambolini into center ice. Tambolini across the Quebec line. Left the puck for Nystrom. He winds up. Shoots that one wide of the goal. Comes back to Lane at the point. Teams at 6 aside. Lane shot is blocked. Out comes Anton Stastny. Stastny across the Islander line. Taken out of the play and a hip check from Potvin. Nystrom winding up for the Islanders. Lead pass to Bourne. He's across the line. Can't get around Holgensen, and the Nordiques bank one off the boards into center. Stastny with Bernier carrying the puck now. Bernier centers. Anton Stastny had it stolen, and here's Nystrom. He just hits it into center where Bourne picks it up. Bourne across the line. Can't get around the defensive work of Rochefort, and the Nordiques shoot it down into the Islanders' zone. Wide of the net, back for it is Morrow. Play has opened up considerably here in the second period. There's a break in the action with the score. New York Islanders 3, Quebec Nordiques 2.
Gary Howitt returns from the Islanders' dressing room after receiving what we're told 4 stitches in his forehead. Eager to get back in the action. Islanders pressing. The game has definitely opened up.
Keller set up by Goring, and he couldn't get the shot off. Now Anton Stastny leads the rush to center for the Nordiques over the Islander line, but Peter moved in ahead of the play, and offside called against Quebec.
The Stastnys, exciting hockey players in their own right, Jiggs. They skate well, they handle the puck well, both of them. Both look much similar in many ways as Andy Keller when they steam down the ice carrying the puck. The puck does not slow them down. They handle the puck and skate very well.
Here's Bourne sending Keller into the Quebec zone. And there's Keller on the right wing side in front to Bourne. His shot went wide. Hislop with it back of the goal. Jamie Hislop checked by Goring. Now Hislop recovers the puck. Plays it around to the left wing boards. Peter Stastny dumps it into center. Chasing it for the Islanders is Lane. 3:20 left in the period. They were 1-1 at the end of the first. Quebec came back to take a 2-1 lead. Then the Islanders scored twice on a major against the Nordiques. Quebec forced back into their own zone. Hoganson with it up the right wing to Hislop. He's checked on the boards by Trottier. The puck comes outside the line. Langevin has it at center ice. Langevin to Trottier. Trottier at the Quebec blue line. Shoots one around the boards. Here's Gillies coming in after it. Mark Gillies in the corner. Tied up by Hoganson and Hislop. The puck dug loose. Trottier chasing it. Couldn't get there in time. The puck loose back of the goal. Bossy couldn't knock it away from Rochefort. Trottier got it to Gillies, to Bossy, and that went behind him. Hoganson starts out for Quebec. Hoganson to Anton Stastny. Too far. Lorimer missed Trottier at center. Hoganson back in his own zone for the Nordiques. Hoganson to Hislop. Hislop carries the puck into center ice. Shoots it down into the Islanders zone. Rush cuts it off. Back of the net for Dave Langevin. Langevin starting out slowly. Carries the puck to the blue line. Into center to the left wing boards. Now he likes to shoot one around the boards in the Quebec zone. Bossy in after it. He's hooked on the play by Fatorik. Bossy roughed up a little bit. Trottier steps into his man as Tonelli steals it in front of Bossy, and he couldn't get a stick on it. Here's Lorimer at the point. Moving in, and it's deflected into the crowd. A minute 58 left in the period.
Mike Bossy with his best opportunity in the hockey game missed the puck completely. As the Islanders press it in, Dave Langevin lets the shot go. It goes right around behind the net, comes out on the other side. Bossy is held and then checked as number 28. Andre Dupont loses the puck. Trottier across to Bossy, and with an open net, Mike Bossy could not reach the pass, and it went across, tipped up into the glass, a stoppage of play.
Steve Tambellini with Nystrom and Tonelli on the wings. The puck from the face-off is cleared into center. Chasing it is Richard. Langevin back, couldn't knock it away from him. Richard trying to cut in, centers. A drive, they scored. We're tied 3-3. Goulet picking up the puck after Richard and managed to poke it out in front of the Islander goal.
Goulet, his 22nd goal of the season. Jacques Richard, number 23, with Dave Langevin in pursuit. Richard trying to beat him on the outside. Can't, but he passes the puck perfectly as Goulet comes in unattended. No one back checking for Dave Langevin, and Goulet gets his 22nd goal and ties the Nordiques with the Islanders at 3 apiece. Good effort by Jacques Richard as he tries to get around Langevin and doesn't. Glenn Resch had committed himself a little, and Goulet beat him.
Now Richard put it out in front of the Islander goal. A shot deflected off Morrow and wide. They center one again, but Hunter couldn't control it. Here's Tonelli rounding his own net. John Tonelli fed it over to Gord Lane. Lane at the blue line, up the left side at center. Dumps one into the Quebec territory. Nystrom in after it. Bob Nystrom centers. That went wide of the net. Tambellini with it to the blue line to Lane. Back to Tambellini on the left wing boards to the corner for Tonelli. Tonelli trying to go back to the goal is tied up by a couple of Nordiques and finally ends up on the deck. The puck has been frozen for a face-off.
The line of Peter Stastny, Anton Stastny and Jamie Hislop. Their best line has not been productive. Peter Stastny has only 2 goals in his last 9 games. Anton Stastny, 2 goals in his last 13 games. And Hislop has scored but 1 goal in his last 19 games. Not much goal production for a line that's supposed to lead the Quebec Nordiques.
Now the Islanders with Bourne, Caller, and Goring out on the ice. On defense, Lane and Kenny Morrow.
John Tonelli playing in his 200th NHL game.
Here's Bourne sneaking back of the net, put one out in front. It hit a stick and is deflected to the right wing. Hislop to Anton Stastny across the Islander line. Stastny is shot, grabbed by Resch, then dropped it off, played it ahead to Caller. Anders Caller, who has 2 of the Islander goals. Now to Lane. Lane to Bourne on the left side. Bob Bourne dumping one down into the Quebec zone. DuPont chased in deep by Goring. DuPont trying to freeze it. Has it in his skates. Now plays it around to the left wing side. Anton Stastny unable to get it out of there. Caller out in front to Goring. Goring back to Bourne. Bourne trying to come through the middle. Couldn't get between that Quebec defense. Now Lane is checked. And Hislop feeds it ahead to Stastny. Anton Stastny over the line. Back to Hislop. Hislop chased to the corner, and the check by Caller, and the puck ends up in the opposite corner. Bob Bourne ahead to Goring. Goring runs into the boards, played it back into his own zone. Peter Stastny with it. Stastny back of the net to Anton, and he couldn't control the pass. 7 seconds left in the period as the Islanders have shot it down into the Quebec zone. Rochefort takes it back to the net, and there's the horn, ending the second period. We've got 20 minutes remaining in this game. A 3-3 tie, and still no goals tonight for number 22, Mike Bossy. But the score at the end of the second period, Islanders 3, Quebec Nordiques 3.
Stan Fischler back at the studio at Nassau Coliseum at the end of the second period. We have a 3-3 tie. The Nordiques coming from behind to tie that's the score in the second period, and a wild period. Jacques Richard opening the scoring in that period. His 30th goal from Pichette and Hoganson at 7:34. Then Andy Caller, his 27th from Tonelli and Pearson at 12:48. Caller again, his 28th from Tonelli and Goring, both power play goals, and that was at 13:26. And finally, Goulet, his 22nd from Jacques Richard at 18:12. Now in that period, all kinds of penalties. Weir for interference at 5:06, then Lariviere for high sticking, Hunter 5 minutes for fighting, and Bourne 5 minutes for fighting, all at 5:44. It gave the Islanders a great power play advantage. Mike Bossy could not cash in. Gillies for tripping at 7:13, and then Howard 5 for high sticking and 5 for fighting, and Claxon 5 for high sticking and a 10-minute match penalty at 10:29. That gave the Islanders a 5-minute power play, and that's when they got the 2 goals from Caller, but Mike Bossy could not get on the score sheet. He still has 48. Charlie Simmer got a hat trick today at Boston. He has 49 goals, and that was in 50 games. So Mike Bossy has 1 more period to try to get that 49th and 50th goal. We'll be back in just a moment. Stan Fischler back at the studio at Nassau Coliseum, a 3-3 tie, a very exciting game, but Mike Bossy has no goals in that period. The Nordiques 7 shots, the Islanders 8, 4 penalties, Quebec 3 for the Islanders, 2 goals for Quebec, 2 for the Islanders, 3 assists for Quebec, 4 for the Islanders. My guest is Michel Bergeron, who is the coach of the Nordiques, and Michel, it was a very wild period. You seem to be upset about the match penalty that was given to Kim Claxon, and of course most of the people in the building had no idea why the fight started and why Claxon wound up with the extra 5 minutes. What's your explanation?
But it's very simple. My player Claxon got 2 bad ends. He have to play with a cast, and he has no tape on his ankle, and I don't know why he's giving him a 10 minutes match, and I'll see after the game the rules about that. But if Claxon was playing with that cast every game, he can play. He has no cast on his end.
Michel Bergeron, we weren't sure why the fight started, and my only guess is that it was a carryover from the last time they played. Claxon played a very tough game for your team, and it must have been that they had words between them. Do you have any idea why the fight started?
Well, I think Howard remembered the last game between the Islanders and us here, but I didn't see when the fight starts. But I know Howard was coming along the bench, and Claxton was on the ice. But I really saw the fight.
Stan Fischler here with Michel Bergeron, the coach of the Quebec Nordiques. Michel, did you have any plans tonight on how to play Mike Bossy? You've kept him off the score sheet for 2 periods. Your club seems to be doing a good job. What were your plans before the game?
Well, before the game, it's very simple. I asked my players to win a game before, and like I said yesterday, if we won the game 4-2 and Bossy got the 2 goals, it's very nice for everybody. But Cote is playing now against Bossy. At the first period, I was playing Fischler, but he's now hurt and he can't play anymore at this game. And I play Cote. He's a young kid. He's a good skater. He's strong, and I think he's making a good job. But I know Bossy for a long time, but he's looking very nervous tonight. And when he get the puck, he's not skating tonight. I think he's very nervous.
Stan Fischler here with Michel Bergeron, the coach of the Nordiques, one of the youngest coaches in big league hockey. And Michel coached against Mike Bossy. Michel was the coach of Three Rivers, and Mike was with Laval. Now, at the time when you were coaching in junior hockey, Michel, did Bossy look like he was going to make it to the top?
Oh, for sure. I remember Bossy scored a lot of goals against my team. I was mad at him, but I know him off the ice. You know, he's really a nice guy, and I'm very happy for him. He's working hard, and so many people said before he was in junior he can't play in the National Hockey League because he's not stronger, and he's scared a little bit. But I'm very happy for him right now.
You have been described, Michel Bergeron, as the next Scotty Bowman in hockey. Scotty Bowman, one of the great coaches of all time, and they say that you are a French-Canadian version of Bowman, that you're young, but you're tough. Now, what's your interpretation of that analysis?
Well, you know, Scotty Bowman is Scotty Bowman, and if I got a success, we never know. But right now, my team is not playing like Scotty Bowman. It was behind the bench. But I like discipline. I like we're going with young players right now, and I'm sure of that. It's the only way, and I have no doubt in my mind the Nordiques will be a great team in maybe 2 or 3 years. We're playing with 4 defense, only 20 years old right now. I think it's going to be good, but now we build the team.
Stan Fischler here with Michel Bergeron, the coach of the Nordiques. A 3-3 tie at the end of the second period, and this man Bergeron, I am told, was offered a job by Scotty Bowman. Scotty wanted him to coach in the American League. You turned it down. Why? Why did you turn it down? Why did you jump in such a tough spot as the Nordiques with a team in transition? You could have waited. Why did you turn down Bowman to begin with?
But the only reason I was very well in the Three Rivers in Quebec, and you know the pay in the junior hockey league in Quebec, they pay the coach very well, and I realize I got a family, and I want to grow up, but in the NHL, not the American League or the International League. I want a job in the National Hockey League, and the Nordiques. When they offered me the job, I jumped on in. But I was the assistant coach at the beginning of the season, and after Maurice Fillon left, he offered me the job, and now I'm the coach. I'm 33 years old, but I work hard, and like I said before, I like discipline, and I think we're going to have a good team.
What happens, Michel Bergeron? You have a lot of French Canadians on the team, and you have a sprinkling of English Canadians. When you conduct a workout, do you do it in French or in English?
Or everything is in English. Or in the room, we have to go all in English. And I got young players, French players, but we're talking in English all the time in the room. And on the road, we're going with the roommate English and French, and it's going very well right now.
One last question: What are your plans for the third period? How do you intend to win this hockey game?
Well, we're gonna play the same. We're gonna send only one forechecker, and we're gonna check Bossy. But I want that win before.
Okay, Michel Bergeron, the coach of the Quebec Nordiques, one of the young wonders of the NHL. We'll be back with the start of the third period in just a moment.
Jiggs McDonald with Ed Westfall here at the Nassau Coliseum. The game is tied 3-3. The Islanders and the Quebec Nordiques. We just witnessed a wild and woolly second period. A lot of penalties handed out. And the Islanders, thanks to a major penalty against Kim Claxon, a match penalty actually, and the major amount of time with the power play, scored twice. And with the highlights of the period, here's Ed Westfall.
The score tied at the end of the first period, 1-1. Jacques Richard gets the go-ahead goal. Number 29. Bichette makes the play. Jacques Richard tried to pull it out in front. Glenn Resch missed the check on Richard. The puck hit Gordy Lane on the skates, bounded into the net at 7:34. Richard, his 30th goal of the season, his second goal of the game, put the Nordiques in front 2-1. Hoganson also received an assist on that play. And then right back after the penalties, Andy Caller gets his first of 2 power play goals on the same penalty. Claxon with his match penalty. John Tonelli gives the puck to Andy Caller. Andy Caller actually misfired on the shot, but the puck found its way to the top right-hand corner. He'll take it and be glad of it. Caller, his 27th goal of the season, his 3rd power play goal from Tonelli and Pearson at 12:48. And then, of course, Claxon, who has gone for the game and the penalty being served by one of his teammates, cannot return to the ice when it's a major penalty. Quebec serving 5 minutes short. Andy Caller again from Tonelli and Goring this time as the Islanders work their power play. Goring to the right, to the left of Graham, makes the play to John Tonelli. Tonelli out in front. Caller's shot was blocked by Graham, but Andy Caller, very strong in his upper body, as he is in his legs, could not be held away from the puck by number 4. Was it number 4? He was in the penalty box, or gone from the game. That was Hunter, who was trying to check him, and Andy Caller continued and put the puck in the net. About 5 minutes later, with the Islanders now leading 3-2, Goulet, his 22nd goal of the season from Jacques Richard, got the game tied up again for the Quebec Nordiques. Goulet, Jacques Richard chasing the puck with Dave Langevin in pursuit as Richard tries to make it in front of the net. He slides the puck out. Glenn Resch committed himself. He went out like he was going to try and get the puck. Goulet caught him out of the net, made one move, walked around him, put it in, his 22nd goal of the season from Richard at 8:12, and that's where we ended the period. Tied at 3 apiece. A wild period, a lot of funny things happening, but the score is still tied 3-all.
Maybe one of the stranger things tonight is the fact that Mike Bossy has not had a shot on goal in the first 2 periods. The Nordiques have shut him down completely tonight. Teams are back out on the ice. We get ready for the third period, but first let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the New York Islanders Hockey Network. With Ed Westfall, I'm Jiggs McDonald at the Nassau Coliseum. The Islanders will defend the goal to the right, the Quebec Nordiques the goal to the left. Anders Caller with 2 goals in this hockey game is 6 on the season now against Quebec. He leads the Islanders in goals against the Nordiques. 1 game remaining between the 2 teams in regular season play. His 100th point in the National Hockey League tonight as well.
Jiggs, you look at the standings. 7 teams are within 7 points of each other for the final playoff spots. Going to be some dogfight for the last playoff spots this year.
Trottier, Bossy, and Gillies up front. Indeed, it will be. It'll come right down to the final week of the schedule again, in all likelihood. Fattori kicking the puck loose in the Islanders' zone. Bossy with it on the right wing boards. Can't get away from Fattori. Now Persson bumped on the boards. Back of his own goal. Trottier comes in. Can't take it loose. Cote had knocked Persson down and will get a face-off to the right of Glenn Resch.
Number 19, Alain Cote. Strong individual if he can upset Stefan Persson the way he did. Stefan, very seldom you see him off his skates. He's a hard man to knock down. Very strong. He's long and lean and wiry.
Quick shot from the face-off. Pad saved by Resch. Persson got the puck to Bossy. Bossy checked on the boards. Here's Langevin with it now. Langevin around to the left wing for Gillies. Clark Gillies checked in his own zone. Ollie Weir trying to center one. Gillies got a piece of that. And Langevin trying to clear it up. A play has been called. And we've got some penalties here. Well, one anyway. Referee Greg Medill sending Clark Gillies to the penalty box for slashing.
And Robbie Fatorik is going on the side of the Quebec Nordiques as Fatorik and Gillies both using their sticks on close encounters. Nothing dangerous. They kept the sticks below the shoulders, but Greg Medill does not want any more altercations breaking out. Gillies trying to get the puck out, checked by Fatorik. Fatorik has a hold of his stick, and Gillies is trying to pull it loose. They took a little chop at each other, rather low at the time, and they both get the gate. And speaking of getting the gate, some fan getting the gate from down behind the Islanders bench.
Now we line up for a face-off in the Islanders zone. Just off the edge of the circle to the left of Glenn Resch. Teams at 5 aside. Al Arbor with Howitt, Merrick, Lorimer, and Potvin out on the ice. On the face-off, Hunter got it back to the Islander line. Rochford a shot, grabbed by Resch, smothered it and held on.
Shot from the point by Rochford. Saved by Resch. Had a good look at the puck all the way in. Bobby Lorimer, Dennis Potvin clearing the path in front of Resch so he could get a good look at the puck as it was shot from the point. That's a warm-up shot for the goaltender. Make the first one of the period a little bit easy.
Now Stastny got the draw, comes back to Rochford again. Another drive. This one a low shot off the stick of Resch. Howitt unable to clear it out on the first attempt. Stastny holds it in, centers one, blocked by Potvin. Dennis ahead to Gary Howitt. Howitt into the center ice area, played it off the skates of Merrick into the Quebec zone. Graham out of the net, worked it into the corner. Howitt was there, ran into Stastny, knocked him down, and Gary Howitt's going to get the gate. Quebec in control of the puck, a delayed penalty against Howitt. Howitt trying to tie up the man back of the net. Nordiques come out, LaRiviere feeding it back to Richard. Jacques Richard stick handles to the blue line. Graham heads for the Quebec players bench. Here's Richard into center. Richard across the Islander line, but it was poked off his stick by Potvin, and a high sticking penalty is being handed out against Gary Howitt.
Islanders penalty to number 8, Gary Howitt.
Gary Howitt goes in, can't control the puck, gets hit by number 26, Peter Stastny. Howitt comes across with a stick above the shoulders, knocks down Peter Stastny, and immediately gets a call made on him by Greg Medill. Gets a high sticking penalty, 2 minutes. Gillies and Fatorik still in the penalty box. They've got 1 minute and 10 to serve on their high sticking penalties or slashing penalties they got. So the Islanders will be at 3 men, the Quebec Nordiques at 4. Funny tempo to the game, Jiggs. It just doesn't seem to really be any motion to the game at all. It's rather close checking, and it shows signs every now and then of being a skating game, and then all of a sudden it stops and goes back to that close checking kind of hockey.
It's almost like Quebec doesn't want to make any mistakes. They'll open it up from time to time and then clamp right down on the Islanders.
Islanders look like they're trying to find somebody in the open all the time to give them the puck and have them put it in the net. Well, it doesn't work that way.
As the Nordiques tried to come in, Dennis Potvin broke up their rush, forcing them back. Richard turns in front of his own goal. Jacques Richard at the blue line. Into center. Here's Richard across the line. Lets a shot go, and it was just high and over top of the net. Potvin poked it away from Bernier, and the puck is loose at center ice.
Good hustle by Dennis Potvin, getting the puck away from Serge Bernier.
Now Richard to Bernier. Down the left side, Bernier across the Islander line, put on the brakes. Bernier starts in slowly, winds up, shoots, that's deflected, ended up in the corner. And cleared into center. Rochefort is back for it. Rochefort across the line. Dropped it back to Bernier. Bernier starts in, fakes the shot, gave it to Rochefort in the corner. Back to Bernier, shooting, rests the stick hand save, and Potvin is there to take it away from Richard. Ahead to Goring at center. Here's Goring trying to go around his old teammate Bernier, and he's hauled down. Bernier will get a penalty. There's Bernier. Gets the gate for hooking. Games will go to 5 aside. There's a break in the action with the score. Islanders 3, the Nordiques 3.
Serge Bernier gets the gate. Butch Goring making an attempt to get to the net. Serge Bernier is holding him off. Goring is trying and trying. That's almost an automatic penalty. Whenever you see that situation arise, the defender generally always gets a penalty, as he did in this case. Sides are now even for the next 46 seconds.
Trache got the draw to Morrow, blasted it wide. Here's Lane at the blue line, trying to poke one out in front of the net. It's deflected off the stick into the crowd, and they'll face off to the right of the Quebec goal. No, watching Ron Graham warm up here tonight, he couldn't stop a football. That was back at 7:30.
What a difference a few hours make. Well, he didn't have to stop that one as the shot went wide, but he has played a fairly steady hockey game. Not tested with that many shots either. Islanders 16 shots in 2 periods.
Now the puck came outside the Quebec zone. They feed it up the right wing. Hunter into the Islanders zone was checked. He ran into Gord Lane, and Trache was back, mounting his own goal. Here's Trache up the left wing to Lane. Lane into center. 3 Nordiques back. Bossy moving up in the play. Lane dumped one in over the line. Bossy after it. He was checked. Cote back of his own goal. Lane Cote into the corner. DuPont got it up in the left wing side into center ice. Cote fires a long shot, blocked by Lane, and Morrow is back. Eddie Morrow turns. Here's Morrow at the blue line into center. Morrow shooting it into the Quebec zone. Howard out of the penalty box. Out comes Gillies and Potvin for the Islanders as the New York Islanders have the manpower advantage. Bossy dug the puck loose for Trache. Trache back of the net. Centers. That's cleared wide of the net. Here's Gillies with it now. Gillies trying to put it out in front. Does off the stick of Persson. Trache holds it in. Brian Trache. He's checked by Hoganson. The puck cleared to the line. Potvin with it. Dumps one around the boards. Gillies on the right wing side. To the blue line to Persson. Persson to the corner to Bossy. Shoots, hit the side of the net. Bossy with it again. Off his stick to Persson at the line. Persson trying to play it into Bossy, but the Nordiques knock it down and feed it into center, and then down into the Islanders zone. Off the stick of Cote. 30 seconds left in the power play. 3-3 tie. Potvin up the right wing to Bossy. Over the Quebec line. Back to Potvin. Dennis gives it to Gillies. Gillies shoots. That went wide. Ends up at the side of the goal, and the Nordiques able to clear it out on the left wing side into center to Fatorik. Fatorik over the blue line. Went to set up his man, and Gillies had pulled the feet out from under Goulet, so the Islanders will be shorthanded. 11 seconds left in Bernier's penalty, and now Gillies heads for the box. There's a break of the action with the score tied. Islanders 3, Quebec Nordiques 3.
Mike Bossy gets one of his few opportunities. Gillies to Persson. Persson in the corner. Bossy turns and lets the shot go. And he had the fans on their feet, but it hit the outside of the net, not the inside.
Now Stastny stepped on the puck and fell, and Lorimer is able to bring it out for the Islanders. Goring across the line, but Lorimer was in ahead of Butch Goring. And we have 2 seconds left in the penalty to Bernier, and then Quebec will go to the power play.
A minute and 48 seconds, 49 seconds. They'll have a power play opportunity. The score still tied here. The Coliseum 3-3. The Quebec Nordiques are tied with the New York Islanders. Has Mike Bossy had a shot on net yet, Jiggs?
No.
You remember?
No. Nothing in the first 2, and the one into the mesh outside the net has been it for the third, I believe. The Stastny brothers to the Islander line. The play broken up by Potvin, and Anton has to go back. Got it to Serge Bernier. Now the Nordiques trying to get something organized up the left side, but a 2-line pass as Pichette laid it onto the stick of Anton Stastny.
Clark Gillies with a minute and 30 seconds left in his hooking penalty as the Islanders try to kill off Quebec's try to get the game out of a tied position. Fans getting a little restless here. They know the time is boiling down, and they would love to see Mike Bossy attain his goal.
Haller and Bourne up front for the Islanders. Potvin and Lorimer on defense. Peter Stastny trying to wind up for Quebec. Worked his way into center to Bichette. He dumps it in off the boards. Going back for it is Denny Potvin. Potvin finds an opening ahead to Caller. Races into center ice. Here's Caller coming in, shooting off the pads of the goaltender Graham, and it ends up back of the net. Bernier starts out for the Nordiques. Serge Bernier off the boards into the center ice zone. Bichette now across the Islander line. It was knocked away from him. Coming back is Bob Bourne. Bourne back of his own goal. Had it in the skates, lost it. Peter Stastny centers. Anton in, shoots, he scores. Anton Stastny on a power play goal, and Quebec leads once more.
Quebec Nordiques take advantage of a mistake by the New York Islanders as Quebec brings the puck in deep into the Islanders' end. Bobby Bourne has a hold of the puck. He tries to dump it on the boards, but he's checked by Richard and Stastny. Peter Stastny to Anton Stastny, and he's all alone in front. Pulls the puck on his backhand to the left of Glenn Resch and dumps it in. A power play goal for the Quebec Nordiques, put them ahead 4-3.
For number 20, Anton Stastny. The assist to number 20.
The Stastny brothers teaming up for the power play goal to put them ahead. Good move by Anton Stastny, beating Glenn Resch.
Both teams at 6 aside. Benelli turning in the center ice zone. Sent Nystrom across the Quebec line, but he couldn't hold the puck. The Riviere slaps one around the boards. It hit Tambellini. He's tied up and will get a face-off to the right of the Quebec goal. Down to 13:38 remaining in this game, and Quebec with a 1-goal lead, up 4-3.
Anton Stastny, that's just his 3rd goal in the last 14 games. We were talking earlier about the fact that the two Stastny brothers with Jamie Hislop had only scored 5 goals in the past 10 games between them.
Now Quebec won the draw. They try to feed it up the left wing and are successful. To the right side to Richard. Richard over the line with Hunter. Richard partially checked. Now turns again to get away from Langevin. Richard to the blue line. Long backhander is blocked. Third into the corner. Hunter trying to put it out. Got it to Richard. Richard comes out of the corner. A backhander blocked by Resch. Pearson. Out of John Tonelli. Here's Tonelli up the left side to Tambellini. Steve Tambellini into center. Tried to hit Nystrom on the right wing. Hunter has it. He's checked by Tonelli. Tonelli over the line with Pearson, but they're offside at the Quebec blue line.
Islanders fight to get back into the game. 13:03 remaining in the 3rd period. They're down a goal. Quebec scored the power play goal, putting them ahead 4-3. Now the Islanders in the position to fight back. 5 of the 7 goals have been power play goals here tonight.
Trottier, Bossy, and Gillies out on the ice for the Islanders. Trottier got the draw to Lane. Lane shoots one around the boards. DuPont back in the Quebec defense. Checked by Bossy. Now DuPont recovers. Couldn't clear it out. Here's Bossy with a long shot. First one on target, I believe, and it's kicked aside by Graham. Nordiques start out. Cote had it knocked away from him. Goes up into the crowd, and there's no further play.
Another boo as the Rangers in the 3rd period lead Vancouver 6-2. Mike Bossy lets one fly. It's a long shot. He got something on that one. It was rolling and bobbling. That's a dangerous shot. Graham, with good poise, kicks it aside. Bossy's shot, just as he's being checked, is on the net, and Graham kicks it aside.
Now the Nordiques bounce one down into the Islanders zone. Lane around to the wing to Bossy, knocked away from him. Mike Bossy and Lane coming over to the boards together. It's Lane being tied up by Weir. And Fedoruk there as well, and they forced a face-off in the Islander end of the ice.
The goal has to give the Quebec Nordiques some more incentive in a game that they now have a chance to win. They were a little tentative starting out. Saw that they were in the game, and they have been in the game all the way through. Islanders only led once. Quebec come back, tied them up, and they have now gone ahead. Toronto in the 2nd period leading Hartford 6-2.
Now Bossy starts out for the Islanders. The pass to Trottier blocked at center. Torek unable to do anything with it. It's Lorimer to Gillies. He shoots it into the Quebec zone. It's round the boards into the far corner. Cleared to the line for Lorimer. Lorimer trying to come off the right wing. Back to Potvin. Shoots from the blue line. It was knocked down in front of scramble. And Bossy unable to poke it underneath the pads of Graham as he went back of the net with it. Now out into the center ice zone. Torek knocked it away from Lorimer, but right to Denny Potvin. Here's Potvin pulling to the right across the Quebec line. Bossy in offside, and play has been called. There's a break in the action with the score. Nordiques 4, Islanders 3.
In the third period, Montreal 4, Philadelphia 2, St. Louis 2, Chicago nothing. That's in the first period, the St. Louis score, excuse me.
And here the Islanders trail Quebec Nordiques by a 4-3 score. Denny Potvin back into his own zone. Got it to Lorimer, to center to Goring. Tips it ahead on the left wing. Bourne chasing it. Bourne coming in. Shoots. Grabbed by Graham. A scramble. And it's underneath the goaltender. Bourne had a couple of pokes at it after Graham had made the original save.
What a move by Bobby Bourne as he walks in, letting the shot go. Bobby Lorimer makes the rink-wide pass, tipped by Butch Goring. Bourne goes in, walks around Le Riviere and lets the shot go immediately for the top left corner. Saved by Graham, rebound by Bob Bourne, but Graham held on to the rebound.
Well, the Nordiques have won the ensuing face-off and cleared the puck into the Islanders zone. It comes round to the left wing. Bob Bourne with it to Kaller at center. Goring moving up with him. Here's Kaller across the line. Kaller to Bourne. Walks right in. Shoots. Oh, it was knocked away by Graham, but there'll be a penalty. Goring was hooked as he went to get the shot away. Ended up on the deck, back of the net. But the New York Islanders will go to the power play. There's a break in the action with the score. Quebec 4, New York Islanders 3.
Speed will do it every time. Pass across ice to Andy Kaller. Kaller comes up with Goring, and on the left side, working quickly, is Bourne, and Bourne goes in. He's poke-checked and tripped up from behind by Stastny, number 20. Peter Stastny. Anton Stastny, excuse me, gets the tripping penalty as Bobby Bourne goes in for the second time to be stopped by Graham.
Here's Bossy with a drive. Blocked. The rebound was blocked. Oh, Bossy cut in perfectly after the face-off, and it was robbed. Now the Nordiques. Goulet shooting one in that's cleared aside by Glenn Rush. Trache starts out on the left side. Trache to Bossy. He's over the line. Bossy turned in the corner to get away from DuPont. Comes off the boards. Back to Denny Potvin. Potvin a shot. That's blocked. Bossy the rebound, and it was checked by DuPont. Nordiques bring it to center, firing it down into the Islanders zone off the pads of Glenn Rush, and Potvin starts out of his own zone. Dennis Potvin over the Quebec line. Potvin lets it go, and it was blocked by Graham with the pad save. Cote slaps it out of there. And again, the Islanders have to come back. A minute 15 remaining in this power play. Persson setting it up in his own zone. Left side to Tambellini. Into center ice. Steve Tambellini across the line. Tambellini turns on the boards. Comes all the way back to the blue line. Gave it to Potvin, but off his stick and outside the line. Then Dennis is checked, and Rush has to come way out of the net. They're knocking away from Cote. Tambellini. Tonelli. And Bossy still out there. Tonelli turning at the blue line into center. Across the Quebec line. John Tonelli to Tambellini. Moves right in. A backhander. He scores!
Steve Tambellini. What a fine move on a good effort. A great effort by John Tonelli. Steve Tambellini, his 14th goal of the season. John Tonelli, second and third efforts always prove to be masterful things to watch as he steams across the blue line on the power play. Backhand to Tambellini, and what a beautiful move. Pretty picture move by Steve Tambellini. His 14th goal of the season. His first power play goal. Persson and Tonelli get the assist. The Islanders tie the score.
They have 9:46 remaining in the game now. That goal on the power play came at the 10:09 mark. So the team's at 6's side. Pichette playing it back and forth with Rochefort. Pichette up the left side, but out of the reach of his teammates. Going back is Borrow. Got there before it went for icing. Oh, coughed it up. Comes out in front. Richard fanned on one. Comes up in the corner. Back to the blue line. Pichette with a shot off the stick hand of Brett. Nystrom chasing it for the Islanders. Bob Nystrom out on the right wing with Howard and Merrick. Nystrom across the blue line. Nystrom to the right wing boards. Unable to center one. Puck is cleared away from Morrow, and that's going to go the length of the ice. Will be called back for icing as Morrow recovers in his own zone. We have a break in the action with the score. Islanders 4, the Nordiques 4.
9:06 remaining in the third period. Islanders 4, Nordiques 4.
First things first, 9:06 to pick up the other point available for the winner of this game. Islanders held the puck in at the Quebec line. They rule. Now it comes out over the line. Nystrom with it at center to Lane. Lane up the left wing to Merrick. Merrick shooting one around the boards. Howard chasing it. Graham back of the net. Let it go to DuPont. Here's DuPont around to the right wing boards. Here's Hislop into center. Off Stastny into the Islanders zone. Resch out of the net. Covers up in the puck. And holds on. Boy, these Stastnys can fly when they get loose, Ed.
No question. They mentioned earlier, they remind me so much of Andy Caller. Quebec looking for a breakout. DuPont hit by Howard and Nystrom. Out they come, and that's Stastny, Peter Stastny, number 26, in a foot race, but Glenn Resch shows equal speed from his crease to the puck and gobbles it in. Smart move by Glenn Resch as Peter Stastny, number 26, was bearing down on that loose puck.
Now 8 minutes and 41 seconds remaining in this hockey game. Goring, Bourne, and Caller up front for the Islanders. We're tied 4-4. Potvin flips it out of his own zone to center. Bob Bourne offside as he picked it up. And we'll get a face-off as a result back in the Islanders zone.
No question, a play that they have practiced and they talk about as Dennis Potvin, deep in his own end to the left of Resch, flips the puck high. Bobby Bourne trying to time it so that he does not cross the red line ahead of the puck. He got tripped up and did, and that's why the offside call came, and the face-off just to the left of Glenn Resch.
Now Goring wins the face-off, got it to Potvin. Dennis carrying it out of his own zone this time, over to Lorimer. Lorimer at center. Shoots one in wide of the net. Caller going in after it. He and Hislop tie up together. Here's Bourne trying to come around the boards. It's knocked away from him. Anton Stastny at center. Poke check neatly by Lorimer to Potvin. Dennis Potvin up the left wing to Bourne. Off his stick into the Quebec zone. Bourne going in, ran into Le Riviere in the corner. Now Peter Stastny with it. To the right wing to Hislop. Long pass to Anton Stastny. He's across the Islander line, taken to the boards on a check from Lorimer. Now Lorimer gets away from Stastny, trying to go back of the net. Plays it up the right side. Caller stepped into Hislop. But the Nordiques able to hold it in at the line. It deflected off Goring. Goring and DuPont fighting for control of it. It's Goring winning that. Goring comes out over the line, then had to turn, brings it back into his own zone, now shoots it into the center ice area. Pichette back in the Quebec defense. 7.5 minutes remaining. Pichette across the Islander line, but offside.
7:32 remaining, and Mike Bossy, his time is running out. Has given it a good try. Not easy to do under all of the things that can happen in a hockey game. He has 7:32. I would not bet against him.
Oh, heavens, no. Rache, Gillies, and Bossy. Langevin and Persson at the points. Langevin had the puck to Persson. Back to Dave Langevin. Down this left side, ahead to Gillies. Gillies shooting one around the boards. Cut off back of the net by Graham. Around to Cote on the left wing. Cote to Fatorik at center. To Weird. Blocked by Langevin. Came right back to the defense. And the Nordiques have shot it into the Islanders zone. Langevin with it back of the net. Langevin to the left wing for Gillies. Mark Gillies, long pass off the boards into the Quebec zone. DuPont clears it out of there quickly. Here's Persson. Back to Dave Langevin. Over to Persson. Persson to center ice to Trache. Trache on the right wing across the Quebec blue line. Ryan Trache in the corner. Looks for the man in front. Back to the blue line instead. Persson shoots. That just went wide. Bossy was knocked down in front. Persson a shot. That deflected wide. Here's Trache with it. Trache trying to come out in front. Shooting. It's deflected and underneath Graham, who covers up and holds on.
Everything but as the Islanders press. The Quebec Nordiques, Clark Gillies, Michael Bossy, Brian Trottier, shot by Stefan Pearson from the point. No rebound. Ron Graham playing a fine game for himself in the net for the Quebec Nordiques. Pittsburgh in the third period are leading Calgary Flames 4-3. Detroit now 6-2. That's a final score over Colorado. Montreal 5-2 over the Flyers of Philadelphia.
And here we've got a 4-4 tie as the Nordiques come to center ice. Hutter across the line, couldn't set up Richard. Nystrom turns, starts back. Robbie Nystrom stops on the right wing boards, played it back to Lane. 40 Lane at the Islander defense. Tambolini, Steve Tambolini at center. Now to Tonelli, he's across the line. Tonelli knocked down from behind. Goulet will take a penalty. Tonelli back to the blue line. Here's Boro with a shot. That's blocked and deflected out of the playing area. We have 6:04 remaining in this game. There's a break in the action with the score. Islanders 4, the Nordiques 4.
Michel Goulet, a tripping penalty that could be very costly for the Quebec Nordiques. The Islanders on a power play face off in Quebec's end of the ice.
Tambolini on the draw, got it to Tonelli, back to the point to Potvin. Dennis a drive, blocked by Graham, and Dupont has the rebound. To the left wing for Hunter, he was checked. Potvin got it to Tonelli. Tonelli from the Quebec line, pulling to the left, over to Persson. Persson centers a shot, oh, Tambolini just ripped it wide. Persson sets up Nystrom, back to the point for Tonelli. John Tonelli pulling to the right. Got it to Potvin. Dennis back to Persson. Persson in front to Tonelli. Tonelli had to turn. Comes to the left wing boards. Out of Persson at the blue line. Persson to Nystrom in front. Tonelli shoots it up, went wide of the net. Potvin at the blue line, able to hold it in. Down to Persson. Persson a blast. It was blocked in front. May have hit Tonelli. It's on the doorstep. And the Nordiques able to knock it away from Tambolini. And have fired it off the boards and into the Islander players' bench.
You can't come any closer as Ron Graham gets knocked down by Tambolini. The Islanders. Tonelli lets the shot go a mile wide. It goes round the boards. Potvin almost let it get out, but he didn't. Stefan Pearson drills the puck. Stopped by Graham. Tonelli is knocked into Graham, knocks him down. But the Islanders come close, but they can't get it in. The open net. Stefan Pearson, what a shot he let go, and Graham with Tonelli standing right in front of him. Dupont knocked Tonelli into Graham, knocked him down, but the Islanders could not recover the rebound and put it in the open net.
Now from the face-off, the Nordiques have been successful in a clearing attempt, dumping it down into the Islanders' zone. Rush gives it back to the goal for Persson. Stefan up the right side for Bossy. 57 seconds left in the power play. Bossy is checked on the boards. Trottier with it now. Ryan Trottier over the line. Trottier to Potvin. Dennis pulling to the right. Potvin in front to Trottier. He couldn't slide it underneath the goaltender. It's cleared outside the blue line.
Trottier looking for Michael Bossy in his familiar spot just to the left of Graham. Could not find him, and he shot the puck out across the blue line.
Now it's Potvin to Bossy across the line on right wing. He shoots. That just went high and over the net. Serge Bernier slaps it down the boards, and the Islanders will have to come back. 23 seconds remaining in the power play. Resch got the puck to Trottier. Ryan Trottier into center ice across the Quebec line. Trottier pulling to the right side. Around Dupont. He was grabbed. Trottier still with it. Going back of the net now. Ryan Trottier in front to Persson. Persson to Bossy. A backhander. He scores! Bossy has 49.
It isn't over until it's over. Michael Bossy, with 4:10 remaining in the third period, has finally got himself a goal, and the place is going crazy as the fans a standing ovation. That makes them feel as good as it does Bossy. Trottier has been trying and trying and trying. He got the puck to Pearson. His shot in front hit Dupont. The backhand rebound. Michael Bossy puts under the leg of Ron Graham. And Michael Bossy has closed within one of tying Maurice Richard.
15:50 is the time of the goal. Michael Bossy with 49 at 6 aside. Trottier on the assist.
That's Bossy, his 49th of the year from
Persson and Trottier the assist.
15-50.
Puck in the center ice zone. 5-4. Islanders lead. Here's Goring with it now to Bob Bourne. Bourne at center ice. Putting it down into the Quebec zone. Graham unable to cut it off back of the net. Kaller being tied up by Peter Stastny. Butch Goring got it to Kaller. Kaller with a pair of goals here tonight, trying to come out from the side of the net. Got it to the doorstep, and Graham flips that into the corner. Peter Stastny carrying it to the blue line. Stastny into center. Up that left wing side to Anton. Back to Peter. Has Hislop with him. The shot cleared aside by Resch. Out comes Bourne. Bourne down the left wing. Over the line. Shoots one wide of the goal as it hit Fischler. Out to the left wing. Fatorik dumps it into center. Morrow is there. 3:10 remaining in the game. The story is Bossy now. One shy of tying the Rockets record. Morrow shooting it into the Quebec zone. Pinelli going it after it. The first cross, and the Quebec Nordiques have iced the puck. Backboard is Potvin. Bossy gets a big cheer as he's back out on the ice again. 55 left.
He'll probably be out there for most of the remainder of the game, I would have to think, Jake. Al Arbor wants to give him every opportunity to get another goal and at least tie Maurice Richard's record as the fans chant, Bossy, Bossy. I keep thinking that the Islanders, if they could have got a 2-goal lead, they may have been able to pull the goaltender and take a chance on trying to get Michael his 50th goal.
Bossy is playing on a line with Tambellini and John Tonelli. Potvin and Lorimer at the points. Tambellini on the face-off. The Nordiques won that. They played around to the right wing, intended for Weir. Potvin came in to check him. Dupont has it back of the net. Dupont up the left side. Goulet into center ice to Fatorik. Fatorik across the line, fed it in outside. Weir was just a half stride ahead of the play. Oh, so close as they had Weir coming in on the right wing.
Close call as Dennis Potvin left his left defense position to cross over to hit Fatorik. Weir went in all alone on the right-hand side. Fatorik, Potvin just about knocked his block off, but he left his side of the ice wide open, and Weir come cruising in. Close call, offside, or Weir was walking in all alone.
Now it's Nystrom, Tambellini, and Tonelli for the Islanders. The puck cleared. Tambellini with it at center to Nystrom over the Quebec line. Nystrom on right wing, tried to center one that was cut off. Nystrom being held by Rochefort. Rochefort is knocked down, but the Nordiques able to clear it into center. Lorimer coming back without a stick, pokes it into center ice, and a hand pass is called as Nystrom picked it up. So we'll get a face-off just inside the New York Islander blue line.
This season, Mike Bossy with 22 power play goals. That puts him just 6 power play goals behind Phil Esposito's record set in 1971-72. 6 more to go.
And 30 games in which to do it after tonight. Tambellini has cleared the puck into center ice. It's Nystrom trying to come down the right wing. Checked by Goulet. The Nordiques have it again. Into center ice, Richard dumped one across the line. Tonelli with it to Nystrom. I'm Jiggs McDonald with Ed Westfall as we welcome the viewers with Hockey Night in Canada. We've got a 5-4 Islander lead with exactly 2 minutes remaining. Mike Bossy has scored his 49th of the season. Islanders up by 1. The puck at the New York Islander line. Tambellini with it. Steve Tambellini over to Dave Langevin. Ahead for Tonelli. The crowd reacts as Bossy is on the ice. He's over the line. Shoots one that went wide. Graham was in goal for Quebec. Around to Jacques Richard. He dumped it to the line. Here's Trottier with it. Trottier is checked by Rochefort. Ryan Trottier on the right wing boards. Tried to set up Bossy in front, but that was cleared. Right to Trottier to Bossy. Shoots. He scores! Mike Bossy has his 50th goal. A standing ovation. 50 for Bossy. A minute 29 left in this game. Off the bench come the entire New York Islander team.
It's a penalty possibly, but they don't care leaving the bench for such an occasion. It's worth it. Jiggs McDonald, 50 goals. He's done it with a minute and 29 seconds left. He still has a chance to break it. And how about Brian Trottier? He's been hesitating, holding, trying to get the puck to him, and they've done it again. Bossy beats Graham to the right side with a blast, a typical Mike Bossy blast, right over the history. Michael Bossy, 50 goals in 50 games. He's got to feel so much better and so much relief. He may get the other one.
He didn't have a thing, didn't have a shot on goal for the first 2 periods tonight. His 49th goal was scored on a power play at 15:50. And here at 18:31, Michael Bossy has equaled the feat of Rocket Richard, 50 goals in 50 games. The Rocket was 23 when he did it. Bossy turned 24 last Thursday. Jiggs McDonald with Ed Westfall. Our cable cast here, of course, now across Canada. And you have just seen history at least equal.
What a relief to the whole team. Everybody on that team has been bound with tension, trying everything they could. In most cases, they've overtried. But the cool hand of Mike Bossy has done it again. He took the pass in an almost one motion, put the puck over the right leg of Ron Graham. Good shot by Bossy, and it's done. 50 goals in 50 games.
15:50 and again at 18:31. The Islanders, of course, are being penalized. They came off the bench to congratulate Mike Bossy. So they take a bench minor at 18:31.
Well, the only problem with the bench minor is the Islanders will have to play the rest of the game a man short. They lead by 2. It would have given the Islanders, possibly, if Al Arbor wanted to gamble, a chance to pull the goaltender in favor of an extra forward. The Islanders kept the puck in, and Trottier to Bossy. That puck was rolling when he let it go, but he's one of the few players who can shoot a puck in that situation. The puck was rolling. He stopped the pass, a heavy pass, as the Islanders kept the puck in. Trottier, a backhand pass was intercepted, and they got it right back. Trottier got the puck back, he got it to Bossy, and he put it in.
Now Mike Bossy, after a brief rest, is out on the ice again as we watch the replay with you of the 50th goal in 50 games. Charlie Simmer came close this afternoon. A hat trick at Boston, giving the Los Angeles winger 49. But now Bossy has equal Rockets' feet. Trottier, Langevin, Bossy, and Persson, each team with a bench penalty. So the clubs are at 5 aside. Bossy, every time he handles the puck, draws the attention of the crowd. Persson at the blue line, number 7 into center. Persson across the line, ran into Richard. The puck loose for Bossy. Bossy coming in over to Trottier. He shoots, he scores! Trottier from Bossy at 7-4 Islanders.
I suppose Mike Bossy can only say, Brian, the best way for me to thank you for all the passes and all the goals is to give it back to you the same way. Stefan Persson, as he does so often, comes out of the Islanders' end of the ice, stick handles across the blue line in some traffic, gives the puck to Bossy. Bossy walks around, number 31, Norman Rochford, gives it to Trottier, and it's in the goal. Rochford plays the puck, not the body, and Trottier puts the puck in. Trottier's 19th goal of the season. 1:07 left here in the 3rd period.
Headed offside, we'll get a face-off coming up here. 1:05 left in this game. Been a big night for the New York Islanders. The Quebec Nordiques had checked them to a standstill early. And now in the 3rd period, like they did the last time the two teams met, the Islanders have taken over, and here's Trottier coming to center ice. Number 19, Brian Trottier turning. Brian to the Quebec line, gets over the line, coming in on the right side to the corner as Bossy parked out in front, got him the puck, but Mike couldn't get a shot away. Bichette failed to clear it out. Bossy to Persson. Persson's pass is intercepted. Nordiques move into center ice. Goulet trying to come in on goal is steered aside, and Persson is going to be penalized. Stefan Persson will take a hooking penalty with 40 seconds left in the game.
Stefan Persson, 5 assists here in this hockey game. Sets up so many plays. He has done it again. This time, Persson Gets caught at the blue line, trying to feed who else but Mike Bossy in a leg race with number 16, Goulet. Pearson pulls him down from the side, a little bit from behind, and gets the penalty. So the Islanders, 40 seconds left, will be 2 men short. With all the excitement, Jiggs McDonald. Quebec did get a bench penalty. I wondered what Weir was doing in the penalty box. The coach of the Quebec Nordiques got sent off, I would have to think. Bergeron, who's not on the bench.
Fatorik in front of the Islander goal, trying to make the play now. It's Richard for the Nordiques. The Fatorik in the corner. Bobby Fatorik at the side of the net, out in front to Richard. He shoots, hit the post, they bang at it. Fatorik back of the net is flattened, and a check from Langevin. Comes off to the side of the goal, and Resch covers up with 18 seconds remaining. Well, when it was 6-4, you got the idea that maybe Quebec would pull the goaltender, but the goal by Trottier is 19th of the season. Put that out of sight.
Fatorik to Richard, hit the goal post, the rebound. Fatorik could not take advantage of it. Jacques Richard hits the goal post, point blank range. In front, Bobby Lorimer doing his best.
Now here the Nordiques.
Bernier out of it.
Richard with a shot that was blocked, came right back to Jacques Richard. This drive hit Bourne and bounces to the line. Nordiques unable to hold it in. Bob Bourne with 5 seconds left into center. Here's Bourne across the line, but he couldn't get around Fatorik. This game is history, and Mike Bossy is the story as he ties the feat of Rocket Richard, set in the 44-45 season. It was only a 50-game schedule at that time. The players now play 80 from coast to coast. There's so many comparisons between the two, and so much is different between 44-45 and this 80-81 season. But tonight, we've seen Mike Bossy with 2 goals late in the third period. It is 50 on the season. More importantly, the New York Islanders remain in first place overall. Their 6th consecutive victory as they defeat the Quebec Nordiques 7-4. And so the final score tonight, New York Islanders 7, the Quebec Nordiques 4.
The Islanders' next game will be right here at the Coliseum.
Well, I tell you what, for so long it looked as if it may never come. But Michael finally did it, and I'm speechless.
I think everybody's relieved. If you're not on the ice, we were all pulling and pushing and doing everything we can with body gestures, language, and anything you could to try and get Michael Bossy to at least equal Rocket Richard's record of 50 goals in 50 games, and boiling it right down to the very last minutes. Very dramatic, but I was with him all the way. I can say I did say game in and game out that if anybody can do it, he's the guy, and I'm so glad for him.
I didn't say anything about the way you were moving. I know you were touching the puck every time he did over the last few games. Michael Bossy is our Budweiser star of the game. 2 goals tonight, and the Islanders defeat the Quebec Nordiques. The final score, once again, New York Islanders 7, the Quebec Nordiques 4. New York Islander hockey action returns to SportsChannel on Monday night as the Stanley Cup champions take on the Buffalo Sabres. You can follow the Islanders as they head for another championship series Monday night at 8 when the Buffalo Sabres come in. Then Notre Dame hockey makes its SportsChannel debut tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock action when the Fighting Irish take on Denver University. Both teams return to action on SportsChannel again on Tuesday night at 9 for another night of hockey action. That's Notre Dame hockey against Denver U tomorrow at 4 and again Tuesday at 9. When you can't get to the game, catch all the action on SportsChannel, your box seat to New York sports at home. I'm Jiggs McDonald saying so long for now and reminding you to stay tuned for Hockey Hotline with Stan Fischler and Ed Westfall. That's coming up next on SportsChannel.
reigning champion New York Islander hockey has been brought to you by Eastern Airlines. At Eastern, we have to earn our wings every day. By Chevrolet and your Nassau Suffolk Chevrolet dealers. With Chevy, the #1 selling car on Long Island for almost 2 decades. By Chemical Bank. The chemistry's just right at Chemical. Member FDIC. And by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
Fischler in the studio at Nassau Coliseum. History was made tonight. One of the most gifted players in hockey history, Mike Bossy, scored his 50th goal in the 50th game, tying the mark set by Maurice the Rocket Richard in 1944-45. Mike Bossy, did you think you were going to do it?
Well, Stan, to tell you the truth, in the last, the last period as things were winding down, I was wondering. I hadn't given up hope yet, but, I just had a couple of shots on the power play and the goalie had stopped me, and I was really wondering if, I was ever going to score again, never mind tonight.
Michel Bergeron, the coach of the Nordiques, said that he thought you were nervous out there. Now, how did you feel during this game?
Well, I was nervous. Aside from having the, the pressure that I put on myself, it felt like my hands were taped together, and, I'd missed a lot of plays that usually I would make out there, and, I was feeling the pressure, and, I guess the thing that was hurting me the most was the fact that, I told everybody about the record. I had mentioned that I wanted to get it, and the fact that I couldn't score in 3 games was the one thing that was bothering me the most.
Mike, we're going to show the 49th goal, the first goal you scored tonight. Describe what you were doing.
Well, Stefan had the puck here, and he saw me coming in across the net, but their player got a hold of it, and I just let a backhand go, and you see it just went under his skate there. That goal took a lot of pressure off me to start off with.
And then, were you thinking that the 50th was within your grasp, or were you just satisfied then?
Well, no, I wasn't satisfied with that one. I figured if I was going to get 1, I might as well get 2. And, I was kind of thinking I might get it with the goalie out. Here, they tried to clear the puck out, and they sent it right on to Trotz, deflected it. And Trotz, he didn't see me. He just heard me at the last second. And I just turned around and, I think the puck was bouncing, and it just went through his legs. And I'll tell you, it felt like someone lifted 1,000 pounds off my shoulders there. That was one of the happiest moments of my life right there.
Mike, we're going to look at this once more. Can you just give us another insight?
Well, Trotz whipped it over, and you see there it bounced, and I hit it just as it was coming down. And, if ever anyone says I have quick release, well, I thank my quick release for that goal.
Mike Bossy, you are now shooting for Phil Esposito's 76 goal record. How do you feel about getting that one? How do you feel your chances are?
Well, I'm not even thinking of it now, Stan. I'm not going to say that I'm going to sit down the next couple of games, but I've been through a lot in the last week, aside from the scoring goals. I've been through a lot the last week, and I just want to relax now and not really think about anything. I'm really happy that we won the 3 games that we played, and I'd like to make it public that this team is great. The guys helped me. Al helped me as much as he could, and I want to thank them.
Maurice Richard did not have the media attention that you did in the last week with all the TV, radio, and newspaper people. Was it extremely difficult to sleep, to eat? How did you react emotionally?
Well, when I was home, I was okay. I think the most nervous I was when I was at the rink on the ice. During the games was the most nerve-wracking, and probably today waiting for the babysitter to come was probably the longest 5 or 10 minutes I've spent in my life. I was pacing around with my coat on my arm, and we were waiting for the babysitter to get there, and that was probably the longest 10 minutes I've spent in the last while.
Mike Bossy, a credit to the hockey world, is now in a class with Maurice Richard. He scored 2 goals tonight. He got his 50th, and we're all proud of you, Mike Bossy. We'll be back in just a moment. Stan Fischler and Eddie Westfall here with the Hockey Hotline. We will not be taking any calls tonight because of this special occasion. Mike Bossy coming through with 2 goals late in the period to get his 50th in 50 games. And Eddie Westfall, you have seen a lot of hockey and you've played a lot of hockey. I want to know how you felt about Bossy coming through, and nearly everybody thought he couldn't do it.
I'm very emotional about it, Stan. I'll admit it. He's a fine guy. And you know, when you see something like this, it's probably something you may never see again. I mean, when you think that Rocket Richard did it in 1944 and 45, and it had to be an emotional thing at the time to score, you know, a goal a game for 50 games, that's the whole season. He's not finished yet. But just the fact that to see a young man come into the National Hockey League, somewhat doubted by maybe 14 other teams, the 15th pick, and has never badmouthed anybody. He's been a solid citizen. He's lived by his own convictions. He's played the game of hockey at his utmost and has achieved already in a young career something that is incredible. And I pay every tribute to he and his teammates, and I'm just going to enjoy it that much more as the days go on.
I think hockey fans everywhere are savoring this moment because, as Eddie Westfall pointed out, Mike Bossy, apart from being the supreme artist, is a total credit to the game. Now, Eddie, getting back to tonight's game, what surprised me was the coach of the Nordiques, Michel Bergeron, had told me before the game that he was not going to have his players give Bossy undue attention. But as Mike pointed out, the Nordiques players just took it on their own, and I thought that he was handled rather roughly tonight, maybe not as bad as in the Calgary game or the Detroit game, but what was your feeling about it?
Well, there's no question, Stan, that the Nordiques were, you know, paying special attention, whether assigned to do that and the coach told us another thing, or whether they took it upon themselves. They did. The difference tonight, I thought, was the fact that Michael was moving a little more. He seemed to be standing locked up. When you're in that kind of a situation and it's tense, it's tight, everybody's got their eyes on you, you tend to get locked up a little bit. The legs don't turn as smoothly. You could see that in the first 2 periods of each of the last 3 games. He did not skate the way he usually skates with that nice, even flow. And then he seemed to start to move in the 3rd periods of each game, got some chances. But tonight, he was tripped up quite a bit. He was off his feet more than we've seen him in a long time. And the reason was that he was trying to get away from the players that were checking him. He was trying to avoid the checks, and he was getting just knocked off his feet.
Okay, we'll be back with more of a discussion of Bossy's 49th and 50th goal tonight in just a moment. Stan Fischler and Eddie Westfall here with Hockey Hotline. Because Mike Bossy scored his historic 49th and 50th goals tonight, we will not be taking any calls. We ought to mention the 49th goal was scored at 15:50 of the 3rd period from Pearson and Trottier, and then the 50th from Trottier at 18:31. And as Eddie Westfall points out, the last goal, Brian Trottier, Eddie, as you mentioned, from Pearson and Bossy, and tell me what you said during the break.
Well, it was, you know, kind of the culmination of a Cinderella story. I can't think of any other way of putting it. Brian Trottier so many times has sacrificed throughout the first 50 games, giving pucks to Mike Bossy and other players, we might add, in order that they would excel. Brian gave up goal chances many times. Tonight, he did it so many times, and Mike Bossy completed what he started out to do, and that was at least equal Rocket Richard's 50 goals in 50 games. And then to end it all, Michael Bossy, right in front of the net, pulls the puck and makes a backhand pass. He could have made an effort at the net, but he passed it with a backhand pass to Trottier, and Trottier put it in. That, what we're looking at, is the 50th goal in 50 games. Michael Bossy, so deserving, put the Michael Bossy patent shot over the right leg of Ron Graham, and it was only a short time after that that he got his little bit back when Bossy passed him a puck. Trottier put it in. That was the final goal of the game. But, you know, somebody that's going to be remembered maybe in a negative way, unfortunately, Ron Graham, the goaltender, who I thought played, Stan, a good hockey game for the Quebec Nordiques. He was left alone many times in front of the net. Players were getting a lot of pop shots at him.
Yeah, well, of course, Quebec does have a young defense. And, Eddie, Mike Bossy now has put himself in a a supreme limelight, and of course, the next question to you is, will he be able to get the 76-goal record set by Phil Esposito?
Going back to when I was asked, could he equal or better the record of Rocket Richard, I said if there was any person that could do that, it is Michael Bossy. One, because he's in such physically good shape. He's very strong. A lot of people don't give him credit for that. He's physically very strong, and he can take the abuse. You know how tiring it is to play under the conditions that he was playing under, and getting the ice time that he was getting. It's very difficult for him, but I don't see that there's any reason that he can't possibly go the other distance and get 30 in the next 30 games. So Stan, really, the sky's the limit with this guy. He's a dedicated hockey player, and he likes to make things happen.
Well, it was the supreme performance, particularly the dramatic way he came through at the end. And Eddie, Monday night, the Buffalo Sabres coming to town, and I think we can return to normalcy.
Well, I think so. I think every hockey fan, particularly the New York Islander hockey fans, are so relieved that Michael has been able to achieve that particular part of his career, is a goal in his life, and then get on back to the normalcy of working hard and playing hockey, and see what else can happen.
Okay, we'll look forward to seeing you Monday night, the Sabres against the Islanders, and if you tuned in late, Mike Bossy did it. He scored his 49th and 50th goal tonight, and we'll see you on Monday.
puck in the Islander zone. It's Langevin around the left wing boards for Gillies. Gillies dumps it into center ice. DuPont ahead to Fatorik at center. Now it comes to the right side. Fischler trying to move it up in this right wing. Cote across the line. Cote for Quebec. Chased to the corner by Trottier. Centers one to the blue line. Hoganson tried to dump it in front, and it's cleared it quickly on the left side to Bossy. Mike Bossy dumps one around the boards in the Quebec zone. Persson at the blue line couldn't control it. The Nordiques.
National Security Brokerage is Long Island's community insurance brokerage, serving Long Island since 1982. We're the place to go for the best in home, auto, boat, cycle, and business insurance. Our experienced staff has over 40 years in the business, and we're also proud Long Islanders looking to bring you the best and most affordable coverage you can find. At National Security Brokerage, our clients are number one, and we promise you will always get the very best coverage tailored for your needs. We understand living on Long Island because we do too. We're all Islanders, and if you want Long Island's best team for insurance, go for National Security Brokerage. You'll feel secure with National Security Brokerage. Let's go Islanders!